Perfect. All right. We are live. We are
I
live.
still
We
need
are
to learn how to do
live.
this.
All right. Excellent. Well, welcome to the live, you all. Welcome to the channel. I am D. Ramsey, better known as Lotus Flower L. And I am so excited that I have a special guest today, a goddess reincarnated, one of the mother's great, most powerful sisters here, a sibyl returned, coming with wisdom and knowledge and power. And I'm so incredibly honored to have her here. So I first want to go over this beautiful bio for my excellent, most honorable sister. She is identifying as an African indigenous creatress, Cassandra-Floyd, aka the daughter of the Fates, is a practitioner of alternative medicine with a primary focus in traditional Chinese medicine and additional backgrounds in Ayurveda, Reiki, and multiple other manual therapies and healing modalities. She is also an ordained reverend and founder of the Temple of the founder of the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. I love that name. As a professional health consultant and practitioner, she became the founder and owner of Release.heart.center, a dynamic, complete wellness center. Cassandra has been a political organizer for almost 26 years, with her longest political affiliation as a 12-year member of the veteran organization, the African People's Socialist Party, aka the Uhuru Movement. As a reverend, a healer, and a lecturer, she has facilitated many workshops, apprenticeships, programs, and retreats around the country and Europe. As a mother, a grandmother, a reverend, a musician, an earthware alchemist, an educator, public speaker, a political activist, traveler, defines herself as a sovereign world visionary, one who believes in and works towards a world where every incarnate has a right to be self-defining, self-governing, and personal destiny fulfilling on their own terms. This is the only way to achieve true group, nation, and global sovereignty by first achieving true individual sovereignty. Please welcome Cassandra-Floyd, better known as the daughter of the Fates, here to my channel. Thank you so much for being here, Sister Cassandra.
Thanks for the invite, sis.
Yay. I want to say, first of all, I am not 100,000% sure how you came into my consciousness except by the Great Mother.
I accept that. I accept
yes. Yes. And you came in a powerful way. I have the book, The Great Cosmic Mother, along with a whole slew of other books. And it is one I had not read. I thumbed through it. I knew it existed.
Right.
But baby, when I set out across the country on this drive, these 7,600 miles from North Carolina all the way to the West Coast and back, somehow the mother said, just so you know, your sister is over here, baby, and she done already started reading this thing for you. I listened to you read The Great Cosmic Mother. And shout out to Erica Danira TV, who is in the chat. I turned her onto it and started sending her the links of you reading it. And baby, you have ignited, evolutionized the fire within us. So thank you. I want to know a little bit about your story. How did you come into this knowledge? Because it's my understanding that you began as a Christian preacher, Reverend. Is that correct?
Oh, no. Heck no. No, ma'am. That is an incorrect understanding, dear.
But your family are preachers.
Yes. Okay.
But you were not.
Let me give you the lowdown, okay?
Okay.
So my start in the world, if you will, is that my parents were 16 years old when their mothers, who didn't know each other, lived in different cities, but their mothers had heard about this preacher in Alabama who had received a prophecy that Jesus was coming back for the church, that the tribulation was about to begin, and that the only people that would be spared and taken up into heaven with Jesus had to leave their earthly possessions and move to Edwin, Alabama. So my grandmothers, who did not know each other, moved all of their children, left their husbands. Their stories were identical. Left their husbands at the homes that their husbands had built for them, took all their children, and went to Edwin, Alabama to become a part of this church led by Reverend David Terrell. And David Terrell had bought all this property in Alabama, tons of property, put all these trailers on the property, and people started coming from all over to, escape the tribulation. And so all of these people lived on this land directly across the street from the church. And so my parents met there in Alabama, right? Now, the background even into their story, which is crazy, is that my parents were both born in New Orleans. They were both born in the same hospital, less than 24 hours apart. My father's birthday is July 23rd. My mother's birthday is July 24th. They were born in the same hospital in the same city, basically damn near the same day, and didn't meet until they were 16 years old when their mamas drugged their asses across the state to go follow behind this end of the world cult. So that's where I was born. I was born in this end of the world cult led by David Terrell. And if people are interested, because he's still alive, he ancient as Methuselah, but his ass is still alive. He got a church in Texas. The church that I came up in is still standing in Edwin, Alabama. And his stepdaughter, one of his stepdaughters, wrote a tell-all book a few years ago called Holy Ghost Girl. So if people are interested in getting the insight, and so let me just tell you also a quick thing about David Terrell and this church. Mm-hmm. I haven't read the book yet. I have it, but that period of my life represents such an extraordinary amount of trauma. I was 5 years old when my parents finally left the church, and they left I was a little less than 5 years old, actually. I wasn't even in kindergarten yet. But they left the church because they found out that one of the church members, a woman, was abusing me, was physically abusing me. And the way that they found out she was physically abusing me was I ended up in the hospital. And so my parents left the church. And, but this thing with David Terrell, I haven't read the book yet. I'm going to. I bought it as soon as my mom told me about it. My mom had never talked about that church ever. From the time I was a little girl until 2 years ago, I went home and she was like, somebody wrote a book about the church. That was the first time I'd heard my mama talk about it ever since we left. And so, anyway, so David Terrell was very popular. I just saw a documentary not too long ago. I watch a lot of movies, documentaries about cults and like mass murders and serial killers and shit, because, like I try to understand like the mind of human beings and what makes them go so far, out. And so David Terrell happened to be in one of these documentaries that I was watching about like the tendencies of cults and shit, right? Mm-hmm. I did not know until just a few months ago that the cult that I was born into was like considered extremely dynamic and progressive at the time. So this cult started in the late 60s. Yeah. David Terrell was the first preacher in the South to desegregate his church. And it caused such a shockwave throughout the South that he was notoriously being attacked by the Klan, like having crosses burnt in his front yard, like this was considered pretty radical. And so what happened, because he had desegregated his church, I don't know, you live in North Carolina, I don't know if you're familiar with this concept that exists in the South called the Sawdust Trail. Are you familiar with this term?
No, I grew up in Southern California. I found
Okay.
my way here after the military, yeah, and just traveling.
Okay, so in the South, especially back in the 60s and 70s, there was this concept called the Sawdust Trail. And basically what it meant was, back in them days, if you were, quote, called to do ministry, called to the ministry, and you're a young preacher or whatever, and you didn't have the funding that, like the Baptist Convention has now, what you would do is you would go on the road. And so you hear this a lot in documentaries about cults, about how they eventually got on the road. They'll go on the road, they'll post up in a place for a week, 2 weeks, then they'll go on to the next location, and this was how they built their congregation. Well, the Sawdust Trail was this phenomenon that David Terrell was actually responsible for and like popularized in the South. So in the South, it's humid, it rains a lot, and so you would have these temporary tabernacles posted up in like a field. Like they would find a farmer or somebody and be like, yo, can we post up on your land for a couple weeks? And so they would put these massive tents and chairs and shit under the tent, and then they would have a revival, right? Well, what would happen is it would be humid, it would get rainy or whatever. And so you got all these chairs and all this mud and all this shit, and so what David Terrell started to do was go to local sawmills and gather up bags and bags and bags of sawdust, like sweep up the sawdust and put the sawdust down on the ground before pitching the tent, before putting the chairs up. So even if it rained, the sawdust would make it where it wouldn't get muddy, it wouldn't get filthy. They called it the Sawdust Trail because you could literally go from city to city, town to town, state to state, and know exactly where a temporary church had been set up, because you would see this big old field or this big old area of sawdust laid up in the field. And so that became known as the Sawdust Trail. That became like the Chitlin Circuit. It became popular as a part of the culture of building churches throughout the South. David Terrell was responsible for starting this phenomenon called the Sawdust Trail, right? So he desegregated his church, came up with this thing that became like this social phenomenon, and so what ended up happening was the majority of the people who supported his church, supported, his institution, were working class and poor Black people. This is a common theme that occurs in the history of, quote, cults in this country.
Yes.
Also, in my studies about the histories of cults in this country, I did not know that Sojourner Truth was in a cult. Did you know that?
I did not know that she was in a cult. I knew she was a part of the Quaker Society.
She was a part of what at the time it had been identified as a cult. She was traveling with this cult, speaking, doing public speaking and stuff like that. And I forget the name of the cult at the time, but the cult, after some controversy and she eventually left, disbanded and reorganized. And that cult that she was a part of eventually became the Seventh-day Adventist.
Wow.
But it was known, it was identified, it was identified as a cult at the time. And,
wow.
And so some of the things that happened when she was traveling with this group was what basically essentially led to her leaving. And so the cult, because it had galvanized this kind of bad reputation, disbanded. And then when it reformed, it was the Seventh-day Adventist. So anyway, I mentioned her because it is this tendency, especially in that period of time, the 1940s, 1950s, 1960s, it was almost like these dudes would emerge and set their sights on the most victimized in this country to build their shit. The church that I was born into was the same way. The majority, the great majority of the people that were members of this cult were poor and working class Africans who were called on to, abandon their lives and give up everything they owned and follow this church, to make sure that they went up into heaven with the Lord and shit. And my mom told me, when she told me about this book, she told me she had very clear memory. My mom was a teenager. My mom was 16 when she got married. She was 17 when she had me. She had very clear memories of terrible shit that was happening in this church by this white man, levied towards black people. Right?
Yes.
So anyway, that's my start. So no, I ain't never been a damn preacher, child. I grew up in a very extraordinarily severe style of Christianity. After we left that church, we became members of a church that my sister is still a part of now. My sister is a missionary, a Christian missionary, doing her mission work in Haiti for the last 20 years. You understand? And the church that we grew up in is Independent Fundamentalist Baptist. So as extreme as it sounds, that's as extreme as it is.
Yes.
The girls don't wear pants. No drums in the church. As extreme as it sounds is as extreme as it is. And so that's the majority of my family. I have 24 first cousins on my mom's side and like 12 maybe, 10, 12 on my dad's side, first cousins. So we come from a big family. My mom got 7 brothers and sisters. You understand? And all of them are preachers, wives, deacons, or the military.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? That's it. All of them.
Absolutely.
All of them.
Good old wholesome African American life in America. I mean, that's the way to come up generally.
And it's funny because we're all still very close, but that especially this period that we're in, where very sharp lines are being drawn, like because people love each other, love their families or whatever, there are certain things that maybe we don't discuss, like to keep the peace in family. But this period is drawing such sharp lines of delineation. Are you going to remain in the past? Are you going to repeat the errors of the past and the crimes of the past? Or are you going to leap forward into the future? These are the lines that are drawn. And so it's becoming a pretty regular theme. I just did a reading for a sister this weekend, and that's what it was about. People are really internalizing that because of the courage that it takes to take the position that they know they have to take to transform the planet. The people that are closest to them, the people that they love the most, are typically the ones that are going to buck the hardest, So that's where we at. Anyway.
Yes. Your connection's a little choppy. So a lot of what you just said, I believe, was that because of the energy that we're in, the difference between the Christian paradigm of what we've been used to as a people, and or even Muslim, whatever religious paradigm we're used to, we've got the other paradigm. We've got the rise of the divine feminine waking back up, which brings us home to our natural state where we're burning shit. We want to burn sage. We want to burn incense. And we're being called yet again, we don't
want to just burn sage and incense. We want to burn this whole bullshit all the way to the fucking ground. All this decadent, terrible, outrageous that we would even accept this shit bullshit. And that's not my opinion.
Yes.
That's not my opinion. Yes. My opinion, my view is not an opinion. My view is based on what the history of astrology and astronomy teaches us about cycles, about the repetition of cycles, and about how to prepare for them. God, the goddess, the mother, did not put us on here to flail about trying to just by rote figure some shit out. She gave us everything that we need to know to prepare ourselves for what is inevitable. Evolution
Yes.
is not random. Evolution
Right.
is not random. Evolution is an organized goddamn symphony of information and communication between entities, between beings, between humans and plants, between animals and the earth. It's not
Yes.
random. It is a matter of fact, evolution is predictable, you see.
Yes, it
And
is.
so when I say that you know, we do the work, we do the rituals, we do, you know, we do what we have learned and know to do to prepare ourselves, like you talked about
Your
burning sage
connection
and
is
burning. That's you. It has to be, because I'm fine and I can hear you fine, but your screen keep freezing. Can you hear me?
okay.
Your screen
Yes.
keeps freezing. So I think that it might be you.
It might be. It very well might be. Let me put
Yeah,
this
I
up.
think even people on the feed are saying, yeah, they can hear me fine. So, but
Okay.
your screen keeps freezing. So I'm just gonna keep talking,
Okay.
and then that way, okay, cool. But
Beautiful.
but I'm saying that because it's not a small thing. This you know, we talked all week this week about like why ritual is important, why ceremony is important. But to be clear, that ceremony, ritual is not the spirituality. You understand what
Right.
I'm saying? These
Yes.
are instruments and tools that we have access to,
Yes.
especially when we have been so blinded, when we have been made so busy, when we have been deliberately so distracted for such a long period of time. These things that we bring into our lives, erecting the shrine, you know, having the altar, going through the, you know, going through the initiations, these things are necessary for us to recall in our flesh what it feels like to be connected to spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see?
Absolutely.
And so a lot of
Absolutely.
the time, people see the demonstration of spirituality as the spirituality, and it
Yes.
is not. And I'm gonna tell you, your Jesus said that shit too. If you was a buck 20 about it, your
Yes.
Jesus said that shit too. Because he went up in there, you know, after walking the
Yes.
countryside and
Yes.
shit, walking the hillsides like a hippie, laying hands on people, casting out demons, feeding people. You understand? Doing the work, right? And he went up to the elders, to the custodians of the traditions of the people. They were the ones that made sure that people knew this is how our ancestors always did it. You light the sage, you burn the frankincense and myrrh, you swing it around,
That's right.
you sing the songs. This is exactly how you say the prayer. These were the custodians. This is who everybody looked to get answers about how our ancestors did it, because it's been passed on and passed on and passed on. And so they look really regal doing that shit with their cute ass clothes on and shit. You know, they robes and shit. You feel me? Singing solemnly the songs and the prayers and the repetition of chants and all that bullshit. You feel me? And Jesus rolled up in there and he was like, look,
Yeah.
nah, fuck what you heard.
Right.
This ain't where my father live. I don't know what the fuck going on up in here, but this ain't, my father don't live here. Now, I'm gonna tell you, I just rewatched this movie that came out in the 90s. It was called, you have to rewatch it, because when I watched it in the 90s, it was just a scary movie. I do not know what called me to rewatch this movie, child, but I trust spirit. I rewatched this movie maybe 3 months ago called Stigmata. Do you remember this movie?
I do remember that. That's so interesting. That movie came to my mind not even 2 weeks ago, for just out of the
Baby,
blue.
rewatch
Okay.
Stigmata.
Okay.
I'm
I will.
sitting there like,
I
because
will.
I didn't
And you know
have
they
any.
redid The Exorcist too.
I haven't watched it yet, and I've been debating about it. But baby, there's some shit I don't be trying to have in my head. You
Right.
understand what
I
I'm
don't watch
saying?
any of
There's
it.
some. I mean, there are some things that I recognize I need to watch because I'm going so hard on the Roman Catholic Church. But
Oh,
some things,
Go ahead. I've got something for you.
So I'm debating about whether I'm going to rewatch The Exorcist or not. But the Stigmata, it was creepy, but it was cool enough that you know what I'm saying? It ain't going to disrupt my spirit or no shit. Maybe I rewatched that shit. And the reason I'm mentioning it now is because that quote or that, you know, sub phrase of Jesus saying, you know, my father don't live here. I don't know what. Yeah, I see y'all doing your little shit and it's cute and everything, and I can see why it's attractive to people. It's the only frame of cultural reference. You understand? But my father don't live here. Now, in the movie, I did not remember that Stigmata was based on actual occurrences.
Yes. Right.
Now, at the end, when they talk about the actual occurrences, they're talking more specifically about the Roman Catholic Church's tendency to get three different translators, three different types of translators from the institutions of the church. So whenever they find new hidden text, they give pieces to each translator so no one person can have access to all the information. Right. And they found this book that after these priests had been assassinated by the church. This is in the movie. So we get caught up on the creepy shit, all that, and we lose like the juice that was in the movie. These priests were assassinated. The priests who translated the shit were all assassinated because the church did not want to get out what they had learned from the text, right? I'm sitting here mind blown, child, taking notes like I'm in college and shit watching this movie, right?
Right,
and
right.
So he references that that particular scene in the Bible where supposedly Jesus bum rushes the church and is like, my father don't live here. And I guess the completion of that statement was, instead, go out into the world, go out into the field, turn over this rock, and there my father will be. Sit at the root of this tree, and this is where my father is, or whatever. It's important in the context of what the fuck, girl, you're gonna have to delete this motherfucker on your you're gonna have to like block this bitch.
I just now saw it. Okay. Yeah, I don't give it no energy.
It ain't about giving it energy. It's about these motherfuckers. These motherfuckers know there's a contest coming. And so when women start talking, because it's happened on all of my social media lately, I ain't never had no issues, ain't never had no problems. Now all of a sudden, fucking police is what it is. Goddamn trolls want to come up on my shit trying to distract, and y'all don't get no spot on the motherfucking block. Goddamn it. Go somewhere else with that bullshit.
And it's already the wonderful thing. I titled this "The Rise of the Divine Feminine." Till you do right by us, everything you even think about gonna crumble. Shout out to Mama Sealy, because the re-emergence of the divine feminine on the planet is about the daughters, is about the murky bubbling of the cells of the Mother Earth, which are us. We look just like her. I don't see we are it. And this wildfire that is rolling, especially in these young women. Have you heard this young woman's name, Princella? Have you ever heard of her? She's on YouTube.
It sounds familiar. Somebody's probably mentioned it.
She ain't but 37, baby. She's an Aquarius. She done wrote 2 books. One of them called The 41 Shades of Men, the way they use and pursue you. And the other one is entitled That the Male is Incapable of Love. Or the 5 Rules of Love or some shit. She breaks the shit down biologically about testosterone. I mean, it's all just coming up. Shit that our mothers have been telling us for centuries through the network of our DNA. The splinter in our mind in this matrix. We know that this matrix doesn't make sense to the female mind. Patriarchy doesn't make sense to the female mind. How could you have a father and a son and create life? That doesn't even make sense.
Truth be told, patriarchy don't make sense to males neither. That's why they become so toxic. That's why they become so destructive, because they are at war with their own flesh, with their own self.
Yes.
They are at war with, and it has made them insane. because no creature on this planet is outside the body of the mother. And it is this weird ass ideology imposed on the consciousness of human beings that has split them apart. And you asked me to prepare with quotes from the great cosmic mother.
Please.
And Barbara Moore talks about the same thing in this book, that what patriarchy has done is not just, not just destroyed the very flesh of the mother, but what patriarchy has done as a strategy was to create these divisions between males and females that had harmoniously existed with each other for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Males didn't have no problem seeing the woman as God on earth. No problem. As a matter of fact, went out of their way and did all the work that the mothers dictated that they do to secure the group, because the mother say so. Whatever the mother say, that's what the fuck we about to go do. Now all of a sudden you got these weirdos called the children of Mars. Child, look, Rome, the word Rome etymologically translates to we are the children of Mars. Rome as an institution, as an idea, was born to produce brigandage in the world. You understand? Now let me tell you, I'm on this wormhole dive about, the hidden Roman Empire, right? Like the Roman Catholic Church is still the same old goddamn hidden Roman Empire with the same imperial ambitions to literally own and control every square inch of the planet. Those ambitions haven't changed in a couple thousand years, right?
Nope.
So I'm like, all right, let me research Rome. How did Rome emerge in human society? Where the fuck it came from? Baby, I spent 6 hours one day looking through like the BBC website, the Roman Catholic Church website, the History Channel website, peer-reviewed journal articles, professors teaching on the history of Rome. Do you know that I did not find one source in 6 hours of study through reputable sites, not one, that had Rome's origin as something like historically documentable? Everybody cites Rome's origin as a mythological origin. Every historical website says that the two brothers, what was their name? Romulus, and what was the other motherfucker name? I forget, but they were twin brothers, supposedly born of Mars. That's the History Channel.
Right.
Say the documented origins of the first city of Rome was these two brothers, and one of the brothers ended up killing the other brother because he was scared that the other brother, they twins, he was scared that the other brother was going to eventually take power, and he became the first emperor of Rome. I was like, wait. But wait a minute, who their mama was, who their people was they nomadic people that eventually settled somewhere, and then Rome was nothing like it.
And have you in your studies
Remus and Romulus? Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sister T.
Have you gotten to the place where you understand that the original Romans were of African, because of Pangea, everybody was black? These original Romans were not European white people. We have got to get to that truth. The temple raiders were not white folks first. They was all niggas on this planet. All of them. The first emperors were black. And it wasn't until they created their little white little friends and let them and then they got double crossed. Shout out to the double cross, bitch.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this. Like I have read, and I respect and I appreciate the understanding that we have received from the works of Mama Zogbe. I appreciate it, because there was so much mystery. Even when I was a black nationalist, even when I was this hardcore black nationalist, this African internationalist, because of the way that work looks in the, especially veteran organizations that have been around since the 50s and the 60s, there is a way that women, Black women in particular, women in general, are drawn to things that they see have the potential to make life better for the group. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
one thing that happens frequently in Black organizations is they have the ability to win and galvanize the participation of women very easily. But one of the criticisms that the chairman of the organization I was a part of used to make all the time, that is a criticism that has been made since there's been a movement. You know, Marcus Garvey made the criticism, Malcolm X made the criticism. It is a tendency that everyone recognizes and no one addresses, is that, you know, Marcus Garvey said, if you want to get something done well and correctly, get the sisters to do it. And then Malcolm X said, you know, men are the jawbone of the movement and women are the backbone of the movement. The Black Panther Party had, you know, and today is actually the anniversary of the founding of the Black Panther Party. You know, the Black Panther Party had this same tendency. The women were the executors, but they shied away from doing the deep philosophical study that men just gravitate to. Brothers come to the movement, they don't want to do shit, but they want to pontificate, you understand, and do political education all day, every day. But because you see what Frantz Fanon said, my brother is blah, blah,
right.
You know what I'm saying? And sisters like, y'all can have that bullshit. Like, we out here trying to change the motherfucking world while y'all talking circles around each other. You feel me?
Right.
But the chairman of the organization, the one thing, there's many things that I appreciate about him, despite his flaws. One of the things that he used to struggle with us about women in the party was, he would say, I organized the Sunday mass meeting, which was like our church, if you will. Like, I organized the food, I organized the speakers and shit like that. He was like, look, the work that you do with the Sunday mass meeting is fine, but don't you keep under the auspice of organizing the event, you keep missing these political educations. You need to get your nose in this fucking political education so that you can adequately analyze and articulate the line of the fucking party. That's what we need, is women articulating the line of the party. How are we going to change the world? What does that look like scientifically? Now, I will tell you, the reason I believe that a lot of women shy away from the deep political, analytical, philosophical work, studying political history and the impact that we can point to right now that it has had on us, whether it was 2,000 years ago, or whether it was 50 years ago, is because our confidence has been bludgeoned the fuck to death. And so a lot of the time it's our own insecurities that make it difficult for us to step ahead of the group, to put ourselves forward and to say, this is my understanding as a woman of what it's going to take to move us forward. Because what happened, and the chairman used to say, there's a scripture in the Bible that says faith without works is dead, right? The chairman had a political version of this statement. He said, theory without practice is idle, and practice without theory is vain. Wait a minute. Theory without practice is vain. That's the brothers. Theory without practice. You don't want to do shit, but you want to do all the speaking and shit. You want to be in the fucking camera and shit. Theory without practice is vain, and practice without theory is idle. You just doing the doing the work, doing the work. No one is good, no one is right, doing the work, but you are not consolidating an ideology that helps you to see the seemingly mundane daily activity of activism and how it is directly tied to a fucking goal that is going to win us something specific. In the real world. What I'm always talking to y'all about, what am I always saying? I am always saying, and most people have a different way of saying the same thing, right? That when we talk about the temple of evolutionary emergence, that evolution, we always see evolution as like a destination or like a pop off a point. Every single solitary moment is an evolutionary and emergent process. Every moment. That's why it's so important to be mindful of how you treat human beings, how you communicate in the world, that everything that you do is a seed that you have planted that is going to contribute to something in the future. And I told y'all yesterday, every moment we're doing one of two things. We are consciously or unconsciously recreating the ails of the past, or we are consciously, willfully, and deliberately creating the future. That's it.
That's it.
There is no passivity. There is no what they call it, apathetic shit. You can't just kind of ride the fence in the middle. Well, I'm not really political. You can't do none of that shit. Even your apathy is contributing to the continuation of the world you say you want to see made right. You want to see made right. There's a song. There's a song. There's a song. You know the band. You know the band Rush. You know the band Rush. You remember the band Rush from the 70s. There's a song that they sing, and I love this one lyric so much. I hear the song 1,000 times, and every time I hear this lyric, I'm like, yes. He says, if you choose not to decide, you have still made a choice. If you choose not to decide, you have still made a choice. Your inaction is still contributing to the suffering of human beings. You don't get no pass. You don't get no out.
Woo!
You understand?
Woo! Where my arms, baby? Where my arms? Woo! Y'all get some good preaching today. You hear me?
Yo,
so sister, when you speak of the planet and the rising and how we step forward, it is, thank you for that, first of all, because it's very encouraging. I know for myself and for a lot of women in particular, you know, because we've been beat down and told our opinions don't matter, and you know what we feel is a little bit crazy and a little bit insane, and you a man hating, you women, and da. I want to say that my clear download from the mother is one of righteous indignation. Yes, one of, hey,
absolutely,
what the fuck do y'all think is going on here? The rage, the deep-seated anger of women on the planet, and I mean all our sisters, every corner, where you're talking about being clitectomy, a clitoris removed, the babies being killed in India and raped by their fathers and murdered and burned alive, and this incredible degradation of the female body on the planet. The anger that is not really anger, because anger doesn't have any power, I've heard from C. Freeman L. It is righteous indignation, though. It's this idea that men and the male patriarchal structure, males, want to tell us to shut the fuck up. That it's some sort of quiet revolution, that we just gonna all own our way to the next paradigm, to the fifth dimension. Nigga, ain't nobody getting up out of here. Shout out to Mama T. Nobody's going to any no dimensions until the daughters get theirs. And the anger and the righteous indignation and the way it is going to give birth to the death and annihilation of a paradigm on this fucking planet, all I can hear is buckle up, buttercup.
You know, it's
coming.
This thing about righteous indignation, righteous rage, you know, it is so easy. It is too easy, in fact, to this whole new term for what you're talking about, like spiritual bypassing, that somehow you're just going to wish your way out of the quagmire, that somehow it is just, you know, a lack of taking control and ownership of your own thoughts that have you in the fucking pit that you exist in. When I was in college, when I was in my undergraduate program, I got my bachelor's degree in alternative medicine, right? Now, mind you, I went to medical school. I started medical school as a member of the African People's Socialist Party. So I was an atheist when I started alternative med school. I was a hardcore revolutionary when I entered medical school. So I already went into that program with a different set of lenses than the few other brothers and sisters that were in that program. My graduating class, there were only 3 Black people in the whole class. It was 150 or so of us. And so when I went into that program, and baby, I had an attitude every day. I stayed, man. Listen, when I said I stayed on them white people in that program, and they loved me for it. The teachers were like, "You made this class so much fun." Now, classmates was mad as hell, but my teachers were like, "You made this class so much fun. You just kept stirring up shit. You just kept stirring up." I was like, damn, motherfucking right I was. Because y'all ain't just gonna be talking like Black people ain't up in this room. Y'all teaching colored people's medicine as a program. Ain't but 3 colored people in the whole program. And y'all gonna be talking like we ain't even in the room. Like one woman said, she was teaching my my nutrition and aging class. And she was like, well, I mean, at the turn of the century, talking about the 20th century, at the turn of the century, the life expectancy of the average person at the turn of the century was only 34 years old. So we've gone so far ahead. I said, excuse me, wait a minute. What people exactly you talking about?
Which people, baby?
I was like, because the life expectancy of Native Americans, even considering the fact that genocide had just been unleashed on them at the turn of the century, the life expectancy of indigenous people was still well over 100. Black people, despite slavery, were still living to be a healthy 80 plus years old. So what people you exactly talking about? Can we talk about demographics or cities or some shit? Like, no, you can't just make no blanket statement like that up in here and expect that shit gonna fly. I was doing that shit every day, right? So let me tell you. There was a reason I mentioned that. The whole thing about righteous indignation, rage, whatever.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I go through this medical program as an atheist. It's interesting because, and I say an atheist, but in the party, we didn't consider ourselves atheists. We called ourselves dialectic materialists because you see, that is the language of socialist Marxism and Leninism and all that bullshit, right?
Yes.
That to believe in God, you understand, essentially meant you were insane. You feel me? That was the line of the party. Philosophical dualism and all that bullshit. You feel me? You can't believe in God and believe in science at the same time. This is what an African-centered, African internationalist organization was teaching. Is that you cannot believe in spirit and science. You can't believe in God and science. And we ate that shit full on because the work was so important. We are confronted all the time by all the ways this shit comes down on Africans, destroys our lives, makes it impossible for us to experience any kind of extended periods of joy. You feel me? And so people jump both feet into that shit, even as it disturbs their spirit. I knew Christians in that organization. I was a Christian when I joined that organization, still holding on to Christian ideology. But I abandoned that shit because I was like, the movement is more important than that bullshit. And if it means that I can't be spiritual in the organization, then cool. That shit only went for so long, could only go for so long. Spirit was like, you need this experience, you need this science, but this ain't your way forward, boo. And I go to medical school, and it is an Indian woman who, she just passed away. I call her my master teacher. I learned more from this woman than any motherfucker on earth. She was an Indian woman who taught my Ayurveda classes, and she was from a 15-generation line of Ayurvedic practitioners who were responsible for saving the medicine when the British, during the second British invasion, and the British tried to annihilate Ayurveda as medicine by killing doctors, killing practitioners. Her family went underground and maintained the practice of Ayurveda to save it so that it wasn't annihilated. And this was my teacher. I'm getting goosebumps just telling you. And she was telling us, about the political and cultural origins of this system of medicine, right? It was this woman that had me reconsider my position about God, about spirit, about heaven, about the afterlife, about reincarnation. You feel me?
Yes.
And I know I might seem like I'm rambling, but
No.
rage. And then also, I practice Chinese medicine. My focus in Chinese medicine, I learned all the systems of Chinese medicine, Korean acupuncture, traditional Chinese medicine, 5 elements theory, the classics, Japanese acupuncture. But my primary focus was 5 elements. It spoke to me in a way that the others did not. I still use them all, but 5 elements demystified not only looking at a person and being able to ascertain what's going on, but the whole political goddamn world. I was like, oh my God, this shit makes so much sense. I'm trying to teach everybody in the goddamn party about 5 elements theory and shit. They like, this weirdo. You feel me? And so in 5 elements theory, in yin-yang theory, because these medicines, these are theories that guide the medicine. These theories existed within the context of the development of the medicine, but they existed across the entire society, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And baby, when I started learning about in the medicine, you have these diagnoses that always revolve around the mother and the son. When you're looking at a 5-point star, right? When you're looking at a 5-point star, the 5 element star, you are looking at the interrelationships between the mother and the son. The grandmother is also on this, but it is considered the relationship of the mother and the son. When you're looking at an image of the yin and yang, let me draw this shit for y'all, because y'all, I know several of y'all ain't on my channel. Give me a half a second, because I want to talk to you about this in pictures, because it's going to blow your mind and it's going to demystify so much which has been deliberately made a mystery, and it directly ties to the whole thing about rage. Okay?
Yes, let's go. So, welcome to the chat, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Please share this video, hit the like button, and thank you to Cassandra-Floyd for being here, sharing this incredible wisdom and knowledge with us.
Thank you, everybody, for your feedback, too. I appreciate it. I know I can go off sometimes, you feel me? But I try, even if I go around the world, I try to come all the way right back to the point. So I'm going to draw 2 things for you, okay? Oh, man. Okay. So we are familiar with both these things, but I'm drawing them anyway as I talk to you about them. So we've got the first symbol, and it is the most horribly oversimplified symbol probably that exists. It's the yin and yang. Mm-hmm. And this symbol, even though we always see it 2-dimensionally, this symbol is actually a 5-dimensional symbol. Okay. So if you were to see it in its 3D form, it would be constantly moving, constantly fluxing. The yin and yang would constantly be flowing in and out of each other, and it would be a 3-dimensional, sphere. The reason that it becomes 4 and 5-dimensional is because this symbol also represents all possibilities and probabilities, and the past, present, and future existing simultaneously. That's what this symbol represents. Yeah. So when I say it's the most horribly oversimplified symbol ever, every time you see this symbol, they're like, it means balance. It means harmony, right? That's not what the fuck it means. It means the constant, this symbol is not static. It's never static. It's always moving. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so even when you look at the yin and yang, we call it the harmony of opposites. We call it mutually consuming. This is a diagnostic tool used in Chinese medicine. When I'm looking at a person and they're presenting with symptoms that tend to be excessive heat, excessive sweat, fever, or what have you, then we know that the yin is weak and the yang is overactive. How do we strengthen the yin and subdue the yang? Cool. Anchor the yang so that we can have enough time to strengthen the yin so that they become in balance. Think about it like this. You are a walking presentation of the yin and yang. When you get too hot, you don't have to think about it. When you get too hot, because of this biological feedback loop that you have embedded in your in your cells, in your memory, you get too hot, your pores open up, and you begin to dump sweat to naturally cool you off. Just like your thermostat in your apartment. You turn it on the temperature that makes you comfortable. You ain't got to go set the shit every time it get too hot. You put it on the temperature that you like and that you're comfortable in. And then the thermometer takes a survey of the environment. Say it's too hot for this bitch in here. Let's cool it off. Let's crank this AC up real quick. You feel me?
Right.
That's the biological feedback that we have in here in us in every way. So it's not just physical shit like too hot or too cold. It is emotions. It is emotions. It is emotions. And so in the Chinese say, or the theory says, first of all, when you experience what we call excesses in emotions that are left unaddressed and unexpressed and unresolved, those emotions become evil. So in this medicine, the emotions, and they're not talking about the emotions as a healthy, natural response to how you perceive the outside world. They're talking about emotions that are left unaddressed, unresolved, unexpressed. Okay? They refer to the emotions as the 6 evils. The 6 evils are more responsible for disease than anything you put in your fucking mouth ever.
Yes.
The Chinese say that there ain't but 2 causes for all disease on earth. Unresolved, unexpressed, emotional trauma. And second to that is improper food and drink. Second to that. And so the reason that this is important is because emotions, and I'm going to tell you, this seems like esoteric, but what I am learning and have continued to learn as a scientist, as a spiritual woman, listening to people talk about the I am and the law of attraction. And if you just get your emotions right, everything will be fine, right? Listen, if I know this, and I'm a little black girl from Alabama, you understand, who barely graduated high school, you feel me? And Chinese medicine was welcomed into this country by Nixon. It was the Nixon administration that allowed for doctors to come over here and start creating schools and shit. You feel me? If that is the case, then they know and they study this philosophy just like we do in some narrow sense. They study it politically. They study it militarily. They study it strategically. Don't you know that everybody in the military has read The Art of War? Don't you know that everybody in the military has read the Tao Te Ching? The Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu is responsible for this understanding of the universe, yin and yang. You understand?
The Art of War.
And so listen, if they understand, and so I'm trying to draw a context. When I talk to y'all all week this week about keeping your mind clear and sidestepping this bullshit these motherfuckers are trying to drag you into, in this most powerful week, in this most powerful month, that they gonna trigger you with some shit that has been ongoing and never ending since 1948, but drag your ass back into arguments with bitches, drag your ass into blocking your friends and going toe to toe with people about some shit that is
nothing to do with
consistently since 1948. Why they do that? Because they too recognize that if this is the case, and what they're saying that you need to do is to adequately express, address, and resolve your emotional excesses to prevent disease, to prevent disharmony, to prevent chaos, then what we need to do is use the opposite of that to ensure pharmaceutical pockets are fed, people are not well enough to keep their jobs, you feel me? They create global discord primarily through exploiting our emotional responses to external stimuli. Why? Because in this system of medicine, it teaches us that Each organ. So let me draw you something else. Each organ. I was not going to talk to y'all this long, but let me put y'all on game real quick, okay?
Put us up on game, sis.
So
I'm all about health and wellness, and I'm always teaching about the organs. I'm like, those
so let me talk
people
to you
that
about
call
the
themselves
organs.
do. Get your organs together.
It is not a small statement, because in this system of medicine, even when in my practice, when I'm working with patients individually, I teach every single one of them. Because my intention is not just to, quote, intervene in your life in a way that can help make you feel better. I want you to leave here knowing and having more access to information than you did before you walked in the door. Mm-hmm. I don't have any interest in people and keeping people tied to me unendingly, just paying me money to come see me every month or every 2 weeks or what. I'm not interested in that. That's not why I went to medical school. It's not why I practice healing work. Right? Mm-hmm. I want to see the world transformed. Everything that I do is because I want to change the fucking world, period. And everything that I do factors into this thing that I am crystal clear about why I incarnated. As my romantic was probably why I can't keep a boo. You feel me? Because I will say right up early in the shit, this is what I'm about. I know I'm here to change the world. I know I am here to participate in this thing that we all supposed to be participating in. I want to change the world. I got kids. I got grandkids. I'm not interested in anything else. So if you want to kick it with me, that's cool. Just know that I like you. You understand? I don't like you more than freedom. I don't like you more than sovereignty. I don't like you more than peace of mind. You understand? And if you can find a way that your own personal destiny and ambitions and shit can factor into what I am about, which is changing the motherfucking world, then we can kick it. You see what I'm saying? And everybody's like, oh yeah, that's so sexy, that's so nice, until they realize I'm really about that life.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying? Till they get up close to me and they realize this bitch was really serious, like she really about that life. Like, I don't give a fuck about nothing if it does not factor into the freedom of the goddamn world. Period. Now I'm saying that because listen, the organs, like you and I, right? We call it individuals. We are not individuals. We are peculiar, unique expressions of the one. That's what I say. I don't believe in individuality or individualism. We are a peculiar expression of the one, a necessary, unique, peculiar expression of the one. My expression of the one is not at war or at odds in any way with your expression of the one. We are a symbiotic organism. We are the one. That's it, right? Now there are 8 billion unique personifications of the one that exists on this planet that is a part of the one, right?
Right.
And so it's clear to make that distinction, because this peculiar, unique expression of the one that you and I are, this is the relationship that our cells have to each other in our bodies. This is the relationship that the organs in our body have to one another. Do you understand? In Chinese medicine and 5 elements theory, we learn that the organs aren't just, collections of tissues that just do some shit. They are as equally intelligent as we believe we are as a unified whole. Each organ, each cell, okay? Each organ has its own spirit. Each organ has its own personality. Each organ has its own taste preferences. Each organ has its own activity that it needs to heal itself, or activities that injure it. Each organ has its own color. Each organ has its own season where it thrives and flourishes. You understand?
Wow. Yes.
They are entities just like we an entity. You understand?
Yes.
So, when you talk about rage, baby, child, I keep saying I need to just teach a fucking workshop on this shit and start repeating this shit over and over again. But anyway, let me try to give you the Cliff's Notes version of the shit.
Okay.
Okay. So up at the top, you have the fire element. I'm just gonna put abbreviations because my pen is acting crazy. I ain't trying to get. Let me.
We are the one. That's a friend of mine. He always says, "There's only one of us." It's like there's only one of us, and until we understand that,
let me get a pen that I can actually demonstrate some shit.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, everybody, for being here. This is an interview with the great Cassandra-Floyd, as you are understanding. And thank you so much to Erica De Niro TV for letting everyone know to be a part of this. It was so important to capture this energy now. I don't even have internet in my house until tomorrow when the people come. But I said, I don't care. I'm going to drive over here to this Chick-fil-A because this Sunday ain't nobody going to be here. And I'm going to post up with my laptop and baby, we here. Okay. Because the work that we must do and continue to do as a collective, but particularly as women, is know that this energy that we feel is real and we can work with it. We can work with it. And that anger, that righteous indignation, that's a power. It's a superpower. We don't want it to eat us up. We want to use it outwardly as an expression of change in our lives. So come on back to us, Sister Cassandra. Okay.
All right. I know this seems like a long, wordy way to get to the essence, but you're gonna appreciate it when I'm done with you. You feel me? All right. So we've all seen this, and it's older than Wicca, by the way. But you have your elements. I'm just gonna write them out as I talk to you about them. So the elements of Chinese medicine are fire, earth, metal, water, and wood.
Okay.
This is it. Okay. Fire,
yes.
Earth, metal, water, and wood. These are the 5 elements. Okay. Each element corresponds with an organ or an organ system of your body. Now, are y'all following? Because I think this is elementary, but this might be new and a little over the top. If it gets
it's new information, go on through your thing. Give us the whole presentation. No, we like deep. We like it deep.
So we just talked about this little symbol here. Within the context of this medical system and 5 elements theory, you have each element has both a yin and a yang organ. Each element has a yin and a yang organ. Okay. So when I talk about the organs of the fire element, those organs are the heart, which is the yin organ, and the small intestines, which is its yang partner. Okay. Now, when I mean yin and yang organs, your yin organs are your most important organs, right? They're considered your internal organs. Okay. Your yang organs are all organs of your digestive system. So you hear in Western medicine how everything from the mouth to the anus is considered outside the body. Have y'all ever heard that? Anybody? You've frozen, sis. Yeah, yes. You've heard this. Everything from the mouth to the anus is considered outside the body until that food is absorbed in the small and large intestines. The nutrients from the food is absorbed in the small and large intestines, okay? So those organs that are, quote, outside the body are yang. All of those organs that are considered outside the body or part of the digestive process are outside the body, okay? So when I say heart is the yin organ, small intestines is its yang partner, okay? The earth is the spleen, which is the yin organ, and its partner is the stomach, okay? The spleen is the earth and the stomach is its yang partner. This, if you see the element in relationship to the organ, it makes perfect sense. The earth, right, is warm in the center, right? It's hot in the center. The stomach is hot. The heat in the stomach is in the earth's core is necessary to maintain this beautiful, harmonious environment on the surface, right? So this is the relationship between the spleen and the stomach. The metal element is the lungs and the large intestines. I ain't gonna get too deep on y'all, but this relationship, when I learned about it in medical school between the lung and the large intestines, I was like, oh my God, right? So, for example, all these babies, I'm gonna tell y'all this quick. All these babies being taken prematurely, like via cesarean section or being, induced labor. So the lungs are the very last organs to develop in
Yep.
gestation, and
Mm-hmm.
it is a hormone that the complete development of the lungs basically produce, that triggers uterine contractions. It is the development of the baby's lungs that trigger the labor process. The baby's lungs finish cooking, and then it says, okay, I'm ready.
Oh,
The
wow.
lungs produce this hormone that triggers uterine contractions when the baby's lungs are completely developed. So now you have this history, very recent history, where babies are consistently taken early, 1-2 weeks. Oh, it's not a big deal. It's just a week early. It's just 2 weeks early. That's deliberate, by the way. That is deliberate. They're taken 2-3 weeks early. The lungs are not fully developed. And when the lungs are not fully developed, when the baby is taken even a few days premature, because the baby starts the delivery process, the baby starts the labor process. The baby says, bitch, I'm done. Let's go.
Let's go. I can breathe on my own.
Exactly. So when the baby is taken prematurely and the lungs are not fully developed, even Western doctors will tell you now that there is a direct correlation between premature birth, lung issues in infants, to skin disorders, eczema, psoriasis, and shit like that. Cradle cap. If a baby is premature, they're more likely to develop cradle cap, eczema, shit like that. Now, why? Because the lungs is the first line of defense in our body. The lungs, when we get too hot or too cold, it is the lungs that trigger the opening and the closing of the pores. The lungs control the skin. Everything to do with the skin is controlled by the lungs. Now, that's the lungs' external sense organ. I mean, the lungs' external sense organ, because each organ has an external sense organ. When the lungs' relationship to the large intestines is the same thing. If the lungs are suffering in some way, whether emotionally or physically, then you will have chronic GI issues, particularly alternating constipation and diarrhea. And if those issues go on long periods of time, then they become more severe, like, diverticulitis or whatever, right? But think about this. Black people are the most likely of all the races in this country to not only develop and die from colon cancer, they always get the most deadly type of colon cancer, which is the colon cancer that is in the ascending colon, as opposed to the colon cancer that's in the descending colon. Could that have something to do with the fact that for the last maybe 70 years, since Black people started going to hospitals to have their babies, they are regularly taken prematurely?
Wow. That's
what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. The food too, but wow.
So now, that's not the only thing. The emotion of the lungs, the emotion that negatively impacts the lungs, is grief.
Yes, I learned that in Qigong.
So the lungs, if that grief is not expressed, addressed, and resolved, then we will hold on to that grief. Okay?
Yes.
That grief being held in the lungs negatively impacts its yang partner, which is the colon, which is the large intestines. So it could be that Black babies have been taken prematurely, that we have an accelerated rate of colon cancer, or it could be the fact that probably nobody on this continent is more grief-stricken, maybe than Native Americans, than we are, and holding on to chronic, toxic, unexpressed grief is causing an increase in colon cancer.
Wow.
Among Africans, among Black people. You feel me?
Yes.
That's what this medicine does. Okay.
Yes.
So let me keep going. So the lungs and the large intestine is the metal element. Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So like in Wicca and shit like that, where they talk about the elements or just the 4 elements, and air is one of the elements. Air, for obvious reasons, would be tied to this element. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The water element is pretty obvious. It's the kidneys and the urinary bladder. The wood element is the liver and the gallbladder. Okay. These are your elements. Well, what I'm going to talk to you about, because I could go off on this. This is my shit right here. You feel me?
Okay.
But what I will talk to you about are what we call the cycles of these relationships. This is the representation of this. Okay, when everything is harmonious, when everybody is communicating together well, where everybody knows they role and stays in their lane, without trying to tell the other one what to do, without trying to impose the will on the other one, when everybody doing their thing, they got this mutually beneficial relationship, but they are clear about what they role and they task within the whole is. This is universal harmony. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
There are 2 cycles that are responsible for the maintenance of this harmony. Okay. One cycle is called the generating cycle or the mothering cycle. The generating cycle or the mothering cycle. The other cycle is called the controlling cycle. I'm going to explain that really quick and then I'm going to shut up. Okay. So around the circle like this is the generating cycle or the mothering cycle. So let me see if I can do it like this. Okay. So the fire element is said to generate earth or give birth to earth. Some people call it the birthing cycle too. Generating, mothering, or birthing cycle. Fire gives birth to earth. Earth gives birth to metal. This is really hard doing it like this. Earth gives birth to metal. Metal gives birth to water. Water gives birth to wood. And wood gives birth to fire. Okay, that's the mothering cycle. Now, let me explain something to you about this.
Okay.
Shauna Michelle, it could be. It could be. Colon cancer, she asked if she wonders if colon cancer in young people is influenced by premature birth. I would venture a guess that colon cancer in young people is not just about premature birth. I think that we are living in a period, especially now since the advent of COVID, we are dealing with more unaddressed grief, shock, and fear than we ever have. That's wildly unaddressed. Nobody talks about it. And there are several ways to like recognize it. One, when they're talking about the increase of suicide among young people between the ages of 14 and 24 since the end of COVID, this is housed, deeply internalized grief, grief, shock, and fear. And I'm gonna explain that in a minute. But so the birthing cycle, okay? What does it mean that fire gives birth to earth? You can do something as simple as if you have a fire and you put anything like any wood on it or whatever, what's going to be left is ash, and ash is considered earth, right? Or you can say that the stories are always that in the beginning, the world was a ball of molten rock that eventually solidified into earth. So fire gives birth to earth. Earth, this one's obvious, gives birth to metal. All metal is housed in the belly of the earth. Metal gives birth to water. Now, this represents 2 things. Metal giving birth to water, the ancients who, used to work with metal tools, they would leave their tools out overnight and there would be condensation, dew on the tools. And they'd be like, oh, metal must generate water. The other thing that more, later on is this is specifically talking about the mineral content of water, your micronutrients and minerals in the content of the water that you consume. Metal generates, water gives birth to or generates wood. That's obvious, right? And then wood generates fire. The more wood you put on the fire, the bigger the fire gets. Okay?
Yes.
All right. The second cycle is the controlling cycle, which is the inside of the star. Okay, so I'll just tell you as I'm drawing it. Fire controls metal. Metal controls wood. Wood controls earth. Earth controls water. And water controls fire. Okay? Mm-hmm. Now, when I'm telling you the elements, I'm still talking about the nature of the exchange and interaction between the organs of those elements.
Yes.
Okay? Okay. Mm-hmm. So, for example, and when we talk about the generating cycle,
yes,
every last one of them are mothers. Fire gives birth to earth, so fire is the mother to earth. The earth is the sun. The fire is the mother. Earth gives birth to metal. So in this scenario, earth is the mother and metal is the son. Metal gives birth to water, so metal is the mother and water is the son. The water gives birth to wood, so on and so on and so on. This is called the mothering cycle. The reason it becomes important is when you are like trying to diagnose somebody in real time. Say a person has, like experiences nausea and vomiting, nausea or vomiting every time they eat a meal, or they have like gastroesophageal reflux disorder, like GERD or whatever. You feel me? Then looking at this, you're trying to understand who is at play in this scenario, because somebody's misbehaving. You feel me? And so typically in that diagnosis, it's a direct relationship between the wood and the earth element. Okay. Because the earth, which is the spleen in the stomach, controls digestion. If the wood is being rambunctious in some way, or being annoyed in some way, or being constricted emotionally some way, right, then it can overact. Its energy can be too hot on the spleen. And anytime you have what we call rebellious chi that's obviously going in the wrong direction. If you're throwing up, that's chi going in the wrong direction. Everything is supposed to go down. And so if you have nausea, excessive belching, acid regurgitation or whatever, anything going in the wrong direction is considered rebellious chi. And so when the liver overacts on the stomach, it causes the stomach to rebel what you take in. You feel me? So this scenario, the earth who is being impacted, that's the symptoms of throwing up or whatever, the earth is being impacted, but it's not the mother that's overacting on the earth, it's the grandmother. This is the grandmother in this scenario. Okay. And typically it is because the mother is too weak to intervene. Y'all ain't hearing this shit.
Okay.
This is the language of the diagnostic process in 5 elements theory.
Yes, because our organs are alive.
Huh?
Our organs are alive.
Yes. Okay. So let me tell you, the emotions of the liver, for example, in the scenario with liver overacting on spleen, okay, or wood overacting on earth, the emotions that negatively impact the function of the wood, child. Anger, rage, frustration, resentment, envy, jealousy, and depression. That's the liver.
Shit.
That's the liver.
Wow. And they call it the liver.
That's just the liver.
It is attacked the most on this planet. It is attacked the most on this planet.
When I had a Chinese professor tell me, I don't care if somebody come into your office and all they did was break their big toe. You stick liver points in everybody that come into your space. That's what he said.
That's right.
He said everybody in the West is afflicted with liver disharmony or liver issues. Everybody.
Yes, everybody.
So whoever comes into your office, they don't need to know. You stick them motherfuckers with liver points. You understand? Right. Now, the earth, the spleen, the earth, the emotions that negatively impact the earth are really interesting. Now, the primary ones we associate with the earth is worry, pensiveness, and anxiety. Worry, pensiveness, and anxiety. So pensiveness is like people who are just always list making. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this, I got to do. They're just always like busy in the mind, even if it's about just bunches of little stuff. This. Okay, I can't remember. I can't forget to do that. I got to pay this bill today. You know, it's like that constant, like kind of Pensiveness. I don't know another word for it, right? But activities that injure the spleen are overstudy, overwork, and excessive standing. So if you have a job like Walmart where your ass is being made to stand all day, they won't give your ass a motherfucking stool, then eventually you will injure your spleen. The function of the spleen is to produce blood. It is to transform and transport. So when we eat, right? When we eat or when we drink, the energy that we call nutrients that exist in that food is called the chi. It's called the food chi or the gu chi, right? When we consume food and drink, and when we breathe, because of the lungs relationship with the spleen, because the earth is the mother to the lungs, the air that we breathe and the food that we consume and the fluids that we drink are transformed by the spleen into a type of chi that can now be disseminated to the other organs. All the other organs get what they need from the earth. Don't that make sense? Everything we need, we get from the earth.
Yes.
You feel me? So all the organs and what they need to do their jobs well come from this process of breathing clean air, consuming and drinking clean food and drink, being transformed and transported to the other organs. Okay.
Yes.
Now, so let me just go on from there for a little while. Okay.
Yes.
But
we were talking about
the
scenario,
anger,
indignation.
I'm not gonna move on from there because we were talking about rage is how I got on this diatribe in the first place, right?
Yes.
So in Western medicine, so anytime you have, especially like emotions like rage, frustration, anger, shit like that, they cause typically in the early stages what we call liver chi stagnation. So the function of the liver, both in Western medicine and Eastern medicine, is to process all the blood in our body ongoing to make sure that there are no toxins in the blood. And if there are toxins in the blood, to be able to bind those toxins up so we can pass them off as feces. Okay. That's what the liver's job is to do, is to constantly make sure that we're not being poisoned to death. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Perfect.
Now, the liver, so in Chinese medicine, when the liver is stagnant, think about an engine. Okay. All these moving parts in the engine, and the oil, which is our blood, the oil is to make sure that things are moving freely, cool, calm, and collected through the engine. Okay. When that oil starts getting thick, when that oil starts getting black, the parts in the engine are having to work harder to do their job. That's what we call liver chi stagnation. When the liver is having to work harder for whatever reason to do its job, what happens in the engine when the oil gets too dark and the engine is having to work too hard? It gets hot, and eventually it blows the fuck out. The liver does the same shit. The liver, if it is whether through food and diet and alcohol, or whether it's through constant rage, resentment, frustration, whatever, if the liver goes too long in a state of stagnation, it gets hot. It starts burning hotter and hotter and hotter. Okay. That heat, what does heat do? It naturally raises, it naturally goes up. The external sense organ of the liver is the eyes. So we already know in Western science that if we see somebody with fucked up eyes, we automatically know, even if we ain't a doctor, we know that something's wrong with their liver. Everybody knows that when the person's eyes are yellow, they're jaundice. Everybody knows that when a person's eyes are red, there's probably they probably have high blood pressure, or they probably have like some kind of issue with alcohol. You feel me? The reason why even I say high blood pressure is a lot of the cardiac events that we just associate with, quote, having a bad heart or bad cardiovascular system are issues of the liver. Most stroke, most aneurysm, most heart attacks are caused by the liver. And Western medicine acknowledges it without saying it outright. When you hear in Western medicine these studies about how people, who have type A personalities, like they always talk about bodybuilders, how they go from 0 to 60 in a half a second. They just people, road ragers, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? They just like, they go to fuck off to the extreme. And Western science, too many studies in Western science and the peer-reviewed journals talk about a direct correlation between people who are, quote, type A personalities and cardiac events. Why? And they explain why, even in Western medicine, when you have a propensity to anger or rage, you have higher, you produce more, oh my God, what's it called? It's called, your cortisol levels go up. And once your cortisol levels go up, it turns into, in the liver, it's transformed by the liver to, it's right on the tip of my tongue. I cannot even think of it for whatever reason. It is,
that's all right.
Oh, it's right there on the tip of my tongue. It's, damn, I'll think about it in a minute. But when cortisol makes this transformation in the liver, ooh, it is right there on the tip of my tongue. It is, ooh, that is going to frustrate the hell out of me. But anyway, damn. Ooh, that is going to annoy me. Somebody Google that. That's going to annoy me. What is cortisol transformed into in the liver? Google that. Okay, so anyway.
T.
Huh?
I was telling T or Invincible Summer, since they put the notes in here.
So once it's transformed in the liver, ooh, damn, it's right there. But anyway, once it's every time, it's like right there. Anyway, when that happens, the impact on the liver is that it raises the blood pressure. So it is the liver that raises the blood pressure. It is the liver that may cause like temporal headaches or headaches right at the top of the head. It is this liver that is too hot. I'm talking about from a Western oh my God, it's so right there. I can see it in my head. It's the liver. No, not glucose. It's no, not glucocorticoids. Starts with an H. Ooh. Anyway. No. Okay. Don't worry about it. I'll find out and I'll tell y'all later. And she can tell y'all. Okay. So anyway, once that happens, you, like I said, what Western medicine acts like it just figured out is that if you have a type A personality, if you are predisposed to like fits of rage or anger or whatever, you increase your chances of developing cardiovascular disease, heart disease, and dying from coronary events. So, so it is the liver. But the Chinese have known that for 6,000 years. You feel me? But it's just like white people in Western medicine to say, oh, look at what we just randomly discovered. No, Chinese medicine in theory has been in this country since 1979. Bitch, y'all lying. Y'all stole it and put some white people language on the top of it to make us. No, but close, sis. Nicole J. Close, but that's not it. But anyway, so the Chinese say if you have prolonged, unexpressed those emotions, anger, rage, resentment, frustration, blah, 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 that the fire that is produced by the wood, right, which is the wood element, which is the liver, starts to blaze up. It's called fire. One of the diagnoses is liver fire blazing out of control, liver yang rising. Liver qi stagnation is the start of all of them. Okay. So you think about the liver element and it is the mother to the fire, right? If you're taking excess wood, then you have conditions of the heart because the wood, the fire of the heart is only supposed to blaze controlled. You see? So the grandmother, which is the water element, the grandmother of the fire, which is the water element, keeps it controlled. Just hot enough to be good for us, just hot enough to be beneficial, right? The wood either retracts wood or gives wood to keep the fire burning, but just enough to make it beneficial. You feel me? So when the mother, for whatever reason, emotional frustration, is throwing too much wood on the fire blazes too hot. The fire element is known as the emperor or the shin. The fire is said to control both the conscious and subconscious mind. Our heart is where our dreams come from. It is the emperor that gives dreams to the subconscious mind, that gives reasoning to the conscious mind. It is the emperor, it's the shin. So the shin controls our sleep, how we sleep. Do we sleep deep and restfully, or are we waking up 2-3 times a night? Are we having dream disturbed sleeps? Are we having night terrors or nightmares? Something is wrong with the heart, you see. And if the liver is burning too hot because of emotional distress, that can cause night terrors, that can cause nightmares, that can cause insomnia, that can cause that, honey, the heart disturbed emotionally causes every single diagnosable psychological disease that exists. Anybody that comes to an acupuncturist with emotional disharmony, psychological disorders, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia are treated through the heart. The heart governs the throat. The heart governs the tongue. Let me be specific. The heart governs the tongue. Even in Ayurvedic or Hinduism, they say that the roots of the tree of the tongue begin in the heart.
Yes.
Right. And so the heart governs this little space here, which is like the halfway point between the heart and the mouth. Right. And so because the heart governs the tongue, you can look at the tongue or do a tongue diagnosis, and we'll be able to see if there are some issues with the heart based on the presentation of the tongue. Okay. Now listen, why is that so deep? Because what happens to women in general and Black women in particular in a society that tells them that our expressions of any kinds of emotions are not welcome or make the group uncomfortable. We start stifling our tongue. We start shutting the fuck up. We do not express because we don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. You feel me? We don't want to get fired from our job. You understand what I'm saying? We don't want to color outside the lines because we know that it can put our lives in jeopardy, whether physically or economically or whatever. So we grow up learning to tame our tongue. Meanwhile, keeping the injuries of regular ongoing emotional assault hostage in our heart. And meanwhile, we mad and righteously mad. We indignant and righteously indignant. So the liver is like, bitch, speak up. Speak up. Throw a fire on this heart. Bitch, speak up. Bitch, speak up. And we keep holding the fire instead of looking like a dragon and blowing that shit the fuck out our mouths where it deserves to go. You feel me? And then I was just telling a woman I read for the other day. I was doing her reading. And I was like, do you remember? I don't know if it ever happened to you, but when I was a little girl, especially when I was a teenager, I was always taught to keep the peace. That Christian shit is self-imprisonment. Keep the peace, keep quiet, don't fight. There's no reason for violence, blah, 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 blah. And so people would like blatantly disrespect me and I would just not do anything or not say anything. But then I would go home and for 3 or 4 days, I would be dreaming about that event in real time. Like, damn, I should have said that. Or I should have did this. I should have punched that bitch in the face or whatever.
Right.
You feel me? That is the evidence of fire invading the dreams, an unsettled heart invading the dreams. You understand? And so this shit right here, baby, is not some esoteric philosophical. This is a very real and living, breathing organism that helps us to understand us in a real practical way. So we need to learn the color presentations of each one of these organs. When we talk about the water element, the color of the water element is blue and black. Well, water ain't blue or black. It ain't talking about your tap water, boo. It's talking about that unseen, deep, dark water that exists in the bottom of the unexplored ocean floor, the deep primordial abyss, the deep origins of all of us. Why? Because the kidneys govern our connection to our ancestors. Our blood, our DNA comes from the kidneys. It is said in Chinese medicine that your kidneys existed before your parents ever met.
Oh, come on.
Your kidneys existed before your parents ever met. Why? We say it in Western medicine and ain't got no problem with it. But as soon as it sounds poetic, then somehow it's less scientific. It's Western medicine. What do we say? You get half your chromosomes from your mama, half your chromosomes from your daddy, and that is who you are. That's your lot in life. The Chinese just said you get half your essence from your mother, half your essence from your father. This is your pre-heaven essence, and this is who you are in the world. Well, where does their pre-heaven essence come from? They ancestors. And where did they pre-heaven essence come from? They ancestors, and on and on and on. So that's why they said your kidneys existed before your parents ever met. Whatever they were going to pour of their genetic pool into you as the lottery pool, that's your lot in life.
Yes.
You feel me?
Yes.
And so what the white world has typically done is to demote the scientific validity of ancient medicine because it sounded too poetic or it sounded too witchy or whatever. This is science, measurable, observable science. That sounds like poetry. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes. I can go on, but the
thank you for breaking that down.
And you brought it up. I am gonna say one more thing after I talk to you about the liver, and then I'm gonna go and act like I got shit to do because I do.
Okay.
The liver and this question of unexpressed rage. I think all the time about, especially this last week, because Oya as Pluto stationed direct on Tuesday, Venus was to be exalted on Friday, right? All of the mothers as the dragon consuming the sun were to be exalted yesterday. You feel me? While this white boy was up on the mountain in Hollywood Hills. I don't know if you saw my live last night.
I did.
Motherfucker on the top of the most politically, energetically charged city on earth yesterday at the height of that damn eclipse. Some innocent scientist, that shit was deliberate. That fucking shit was a goddamn ritual up on that mountain yesterday. 500-600 people out there chanting with this white boy, dragon be gone, dragon be gone. I was like, oh shit.
Yes.
I was listen.
Yes. I saw your video. I was like,
oh, that shit was, I was like, I cannot believe this is happening. Because I was in ceremony. I'm singing to the mothers. You understand? I'm singing loud. You understand? What I was singing, I'm loud too. You understand? 500 motherfuckers out there. Ain't nobody looking at me. We all got on glasses and all we can see is the sun. Bimalo sile, bimalo soja, bimalo sile sha, emiomo dudua owalo. So I'm going off, right? Over and over and over again, right? And then he starts talking at the height of the eclipse.
Yes.
I'm like, why are you talking? Why people can't sit peacefully and watch what is unfolding? No, he is talking at the height. Okay, it's 9:24. It's the pig. Now everybody chant with me. Dragon be gone. Dragon be gone.
Yes.
I said, yes, that was deliberate.
Yes.
I live in the city that right now, aside from the goddamn Vatican, is the epicenter of public witchcraft.
Hello. Yes. Yes.
That shit fucked me up yesterday.
Yes, but you were there.
No.
Yes. And dragon is mother. That's right. They knew that. Dragon is the mother.
I was like, welcome the mother. Welcome the dragon. It is about time she subdued her unruly ass son.
I was going to say, could you return? Because in your video that I saw on your channel, you spoke about the yin and the yang and how the mother, it's the mother and the son. It is not the mother and her man. It's not the mother and her husband.
That's what I'm about to put y'all on right now.
It is always the mother and her son.
I just want to tell you that it is not an accident that this symbol here is the symbol of the Trinity. This is not an accident. This represents the poles. This represents noon in the day. This represents midnight in the evening. These are the poles of the yin and yang, where it is said that this is utmost yin, no yang present, and utmost yang, no yin present. This is where when you put, like back in the old days, they would have like a time dial in the ground, there would be no shadow. That's how they came up with it. There would be no shadow cast at midday with a time dial. You feel me? It is not an accident that this symbol, which represents, quote, positive, is also the symbol used for the God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. That's not an accident.
Yes.
Okay? God the Son, God the Father, God the Holy Spirit. This symbol at noon is utmost yang. It is white, it is male, it is fire, it is unbridled, unanchored yang. See here, this is where yang is nutritive. It helps to grow the flowers. It helps to keep us warm. You feel me? This is where, right here with his mother anchoring him. This is where he does his best work. You feel me?
Yes.
Here is when he is most destructive. Yang, according to Lao Tzu, is all. This is not my opinion. This what dude said. You feel me? Lao Tzu said that yang by nature is always destructive. Always.
And that is what we would define as the masculine, over masculine energy.
I'm getting there. Yang, all things yang, is the nature of yang is always destructive. Oxygen, if you get too much oxygen, it will fucking kill you.
Woo.
You understand? The sun, without the mother's breath, that is the atmosphere, would kill us. Fire, if left uncontrolled by yin. What is the yin that controls fire? Water can control fire. Earth can control fire. The removal of trees can control fire. You feel me? Mm-hmm. If fire was left to do what it does, it is destructive. Yang, by its nature. So masculinity is not exempt from that. If left unanchored, if left in a disharmonious relationship with its mother, is destructive by law, baby, by nature, by science. You dig? And so here we have been living in an age dominated by unbridled, unanchored yang, running amok all over the fucking planet. What does yang do when it becomes destructive? Yang, when it becomes destructive, attacks all things yin. Politically unbridled, unanchored yang destroys the air, which is yin. Woo! Destroys the earth, which is yin, which destroys the water, which is yin, which destroys women and children, which is yin. You dig?
And so, there, ladies and gentlemen, is in a nutshell.
When we talk about like the principles of treatment in this medicine, right? When anything is off balance, the treatment protocol in Chinese medicine is you heal with the opposite. It's called the harmony of opposites. So if a person presents with heat signs, a fever, a sore throat, a rapid pulse, we use cool or cold herbs to bring them back into harmony. We do not use hot herbs for hot presenting conditions. We will make them worse. Right? Mm-hmm. So say you got a flu where you presenting with all of that. You presenting with a red tongue, a rapid pulse, fevers, and a sore throat. A sore throat is hot, right? And you giving them garlic, and you give it, because we do that shit. We gonna kill the bug. But you're giving them hot herbs, extremely hot herbs. And what we say happens is if you give too many hot herbs for too long, you burn up the yin organs. You damage the yin organs. Okay. So you treat with opposites. If the condition is cold, you treat with warm or hot herbs. If you and therapies, you feel me? Mm-hmm. So what is the solution for the globe that is sick? The globe that is presenting with the fucking fever.
Yes.
Global warming is a fever.
Yes.
You understand? What do we do when we have a situation where a cell, because as much as we got issue with them, white folks, and what they have done in the world, what do we do when we have a cell? Because cancer, and people don't want to hear this, cancer is self. Cancer is not an invader. Cancer does not come from somewhere without. Cancer is self. You have a single cell in your organs, in your organism, that for a long time, it's always known what its job is, how it's supposed to behave, what it's supposed to do in relationship to the other cells.
Yeah.
Something happens, and that cell forgets how to behave, how to conduct its job. It forgets who it is within the context of the whole, child. This is what we call the development of a malignancy, a cell gone rogue. And when that cell goes rogue, it don't just commit suicide. You understand? It don't, what do they call it? I forget the technical word for when a cell commits suicide, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not what a cancer cell does. That's not what a cell gone rogue does.
Mm-hmm.
A cell gone rogue in the body that forgets that it is self, that forgets that it is part of the whole as self, that forget atrophy. Atrophy. That's right.
Okay.
It doesn't forget how, it forgets how to behave. It forgets who it is within the context of the group, baby, in the context of the whole. And it doesn't just commit suicide. No, its behavior becomes radically destructive to all the other cells, to all the other space. You understand? Even while it's injuring itself, this malignant cell, it spreads its malignancy throughout the whole until the whole can either fight it off or is subdued and overcome by the rogue cell. So this is what this is. The white world, white supremacy, Christianity, God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit is unchecked, unbridled, unanchored yang, forgetting its role within the whole, creating and spreading that malignancy further into the body of the whole. That's how you get colored men, of colonized men, participating in the same malignant behavior, because it spreads just like cancer does. You feel me? Until one of two things happens. Either the organism is subdued and dies, or the organism says, okay, we done got too far. Now we can't take herbs to heal this shit. Now we got to cut a bitch open and take the whole motherfucking tumor out. And then maybe do some herbs and shit to try to get the whole rest of the crew back communicating with each other in an advantageous and harmonious way. So when you talk about rage and you talk about unchecked, unbridled yang, the rage that may, in a lot of apoptosis, that's what I was talking about, programmed cell deaths. Yes. When you talk about rage, when you talk about the treatment of opposites, girl, goddamn, when you talk about the treatment of opposites, you talk about, because see, people will get this fucked up. I love, and my love allows me rage.
Absolutely.
Because what we have been conditioned to think, and this is a strategy, it is a lie, it is wrong. What we have been conditioned to believe is that the opposite of oppression and war and all of that shit is peace.
Yes.
Negative.
Yes.
Negative.
Come on.
Negative.
Come on, sis.
The opposite of war, oppression, and all of that shit is not peace. It's not. And so you got people always holding up Martin Luther King and Mother Teresa and Gandhi, all diabolical bastards, by the way.
I was about to say, all agents against their own damn people.
Baby. Okay? Propagating this whole idea that turning the other cheek, that taking into yourself oppression, and that your peaceful non-response is going to somehow win over the diabolical tyrants that did the shit in the first place. Sorry. No. That is a lie straight from hell itself.
Yes.
Straight from the Roman Catholic Church itself, straight from Islam itself, straight from Judaism itself. The opposite, the equal and opposite response to oppression, subjugation, war, brigandage, you feel me, is justice. That is the equal and opposite response. So if justice looks like war, it is about the intention of those responding to violence. You feel what I'm saying? Justice is not violence, no matter what that justice looks like. If a group of people come together and say that because justice comes from love, justice comes from the emperor, justice comes from the heart, and the liver is the general, baby. If the heart is the emperor, the liver is the general. The liver and the gallbladder give us, the general gives us the strategy. How we gonna execute the mission? You feel me? The liver is the strategist. The gallbladder gives us the courage to execute the plan.
Come on, gallbladder.
This ain't an analogy. This is what the medicine says, that the liver is the general that executes a vision for how we want to see our life.
Yes.
You understand? And then the gallbladder gives you the courage to execute the battle strategy, to execute the mission. You feel me? And so when we're talking about saving the world, you understand? And we think that we just gonna sit on our couch and do some motherfucking rituals and own our way into the goddamn future. You a motherfucking lie. You a lie. Not only are you a lie, you are complicit in the way the world is. Justice is the only way to make right what has been done wrong in the world for a long time. And we get caught up in these conversations with people who are always playing words. When that shit happened in Montgomery, when them Africans jumped them white boys, that jumped that 65-year-old man for doing his job, and all them brothers came down on them white boys like the plague. How I'm seeing all these black people talk about, I don't condone violence, but that's not violence.
That's not violence.
That's justice.
That's justice.
What happened to that 65-year-old man by them drunk white boys was violence.
Yes. Come on, mother.
That was violence. Because it did not come, that reaction that they had to the 65-year-old white man was not about them having been wronged, them having been slighted. That's not where it came from. It came from supremacy. It came from this shit. This shit right here. Jesus told them that they can go out and colonize and commit genocide, and it's okay because you're doing the work of the Lord.
Yes. Yes.
That internalized Judaism. Y'all talking about Israel and Palestine and shit. That is their internalized Judaism that has taught them that because they the quote chosen people, there is no crime that they commit that God will not forgive them for or does not co-sign on.
Hey, hello.
That's why we can commit genocide.
Yes.
Because the whole Old Testament told us that's what we did. God said, okay, you see them people over there? That's your shit right there. But what you're going to have to do first is go in there and slay everybody. What does the Bible say? Every man, every woman, every child, every aged, every beast of the sea, every beast of the air, and every beast of the land and the sea. Smite the whole motherfucking place because they posted up on some shit I gave you. And y'all still believe this bullshit?
They're running them up.
Follow the Bible as children. So we get caught up in these conversations about who's right and who's wrong, Israel versus Palestine and all of that shit. Everybody responsible on both sides, by the way. Hamas, the Israeli state, the American government, who is wrong, are fucking Y chromosome bearing motherfuckers who run the goddamn world and always allow and always accept that women and children are justifiable goddamn collateral to the maintenance of patriarchy. To the maintenance of patriarchy. You feel me? Black people, black men are guilty. Muslim men are guilty because while we're talking about, we stand for Palestine, don't nobody want to have this conversation.
Right.
We have to have this conversation because motherfuckers, we talk about a conflict between Israel and Palestine has a right to be free. But within the personal relationships of men and women in Palestine, women are still victimized.
Come on.
Women are still held hostage to a religion that tells them that they are less than the males that they are partnered with.
Yes.
They are still a part of a religion that tells them as soon as a child starts to bleed, she is ripe to bear some motherfucker's child.
Yep.
So while I can say, yes, everybody got a right to be free, like I said in the introduction that you read, I am uninterested in a goddamn world where somehow national sovereignty takes precedence over individual sovereignty, over our right to govern and rule and control our own goddamn bodies. So goddamn Islam. Yes. I don't even tiptoe around this shit no more. Goddamn Islam, goddamn Judaism, goddamn Christianity, goddamn Catholicism, goddamn Hinduism, goddamn motherfucking Buddhism, anything that has any philosophy within it that attempts to, one, reduce the significance of women to anything other than the fucking representatives of God on earth. Two, that has the audacity to somehow create cute little motherfucking mythological stories that justify oppression. Karma? Goddamn karma. Goddamn karma.
But he don't get none.
That's why these motherfuckers can run amok, because the shit they feeding you, they don't believe that shit. If people really believed in hell, do you think the world would look like it looks? Hell is an instrument of your oppression. Oh! Was to teach you how to self-police. I just saw a priest on being interviewed by somebody on CNN because he got excommunicated because he was like, we made hell up. This was a priest who worked in the Roman Catholic Church who got excommunicated because he was on CNN talking about, but hell ain't real, right? Like, we made that shit up. We needed a way to like get people to give us loot and self-police. Not fuck the system while we robbing them blind. Child, look.
Sister Cassandra
explains the whole goddamn world.
It explains it all.
If it is utmost young run amok on the planet that we can see in every possible way, in every example, there ain't no example that does not exist within this context. Nothing on earth. You name it, and I can tell you how it fits in this. And if this is what is making the world sick and ill in every possible way, what is its remedy, dear? What's the remedy? If we're talking about treating with the harmony of opposites, it is the jet black, pure black, unbound, primordial she-boo. This is this. Now, let me tell you one more thing, and I swear I'm going to go. I was in ceremony the week my granddaughter was born. This was 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago.
Okay.
And I took acid for the first time since I was 24, but I was like, I got this new brain, you feel me? I did all this wonderful shit in the world. I wonder how acid would do to me now that I'm a different kind of person. So I made a whole day of it. I did a ritual to the indigenous ancestors of the land. I did a ritual to my personal ancestors. I set up candles. I got my notebook out. I took this hit of acid and I was like, now show me what you need me to know. And baby, let me tell you. I was tripping on acid for about 12 hours. Okay. Wow. As the sun came up on the next day, I'm sitting in the parking lot of my daughter's apartment and I am tripping because the night has been so incredible, like mind blown. And baby, all y'all came to me. I'm looking in my rearview mirror and you know what it means to like scry. Have you heard of scrying? Okay, so there are elements that you can scribe with, like water and a mirror and all this shit. I was looking in my rearview mirror doing this exercise where you cross your eyes so that you can look into your third eye. That's how you scribe, right? So I'm doing this. I'm like crossing my eyes. I'm looking into my third eye, and Oya comes to me. And this is a quote, baby. I heard it as clearly as I'm talking to you. Oya said, she said, baby, this shit you've been doing is wonderful. Driving across the country, making connections with natives, sleeping on reservations, making offerings to your ancestors, doing rituals, honoring the earth and shit like that. Oh, baby, when I drove cross country, this is what she talking about. When I drove cross country, I was bleeding. And she told me, capture your moon blood, and every body of fresh water that you pass, you drop your blood in it. All the way across the country, from Florida to California. And that's what I did. The Mississippi River, every pond, every fucking lake, every square inch of water I passed from Florida to here, I'm dumping my moon blood in, right? But in this ceremony, on this day, 5 days before my granddaughter was born, my first grandchild was born, she said, everything that you've been doing is good. It's right on. You know, acknowledging your ancestors, you feel me? Raising up your ancestors, honoring us, the Orisa. She said, but baby, it's not enough. I'm like, what else is there? This shit's so hard. I'm flipping, right?
Right.
She's like, baby. She said, you keep talking about how you want to change the world. She said, if you want to set this shit off rapidly and radically, rescue these witches out these goddamn churches.
What?
She said,
there it is. Oh, I felt that shit. Oh.
She said, rescue these witches out these goddamn churches.
Listen.
Now let me tell you the other thing that she said in relationship to this. She said, I'm going to tell you something that's going to make you uncomfortable. She said, but I have been speaking to you your whole life. She said, as damaging as that Christian shit was, you needed it. It was necessary. Yes. I was speaking to you in there. She said, so I want you to go to your book today. I didn't have no Bible at this time. My daughter had a Bible in the house. I was like, what the fuck is this doing here? Because my baby wasn't raised in the church. You know what I'm saying? But Morgan had a Bible in the house that night that I'm in ceremony with Oya. She said, now get this book and crack it open. Baby, every single scripture she showed me, she was like, there, see, that's me. They're talking about me. There, that's me. You see that? They're talking about me. She said, turn to Revelations, boo. She had me in Jeremiah, child. She had me in Ezekiel. She had me all over. She said, that's me. Right? And what she told me to do, she was like, now take the scripture and reduce it down. Talking about the numbers. Every single one reduced to 9. I'm getting goosebumps just telling y'all this shit, y'all. Woo! Every single scripture reduced to 9. Okay? So I go, she said, go to the baby, I'm telling y'all, this shit happened. So I go to Revelation when they talking about the whore of Babylon, right? And you know, she will come. Listen, if this is not Oya.
Yes.
She, and I grew up in this radical Christian organization, and my dad used to tell me that the whore of Babylon was the Catholic Church. And every Christian in this country, every Protestant in this country will tell you the same thing, that they believe and they were taught that the whore of Babylon of the Revelation was the Roman Catholic Church, because they idol worship and all of this shit. You feel me? Lies to hide the presence of the mother. The whore of Babylon in the New Testament, she who rides a horned beast, who rides a horned beast, who is that if that is not our mother? If that is not Oya? She who rides the water buffalo into fucking battle. Who is that if that is not Oya? She who is draped in garments of purple and magenta. Who is that if that is not Oya? Google any image of her. Google she who shapeshifts into the horned beast. Who is that if that is not Oya? You understand me? Baby, look. And so she said, I'm going to tell you something. I'm looking through these Bibles, mind blown, peel the fuck back. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, right? What about this eclipse yesterday? Remember a couple of nights ago, I told y'all about the miracles of the eclipse and how our planet is the only planet in the whole solar system. 290 planets in the solar system. 290 moons in the solar system. And our mother moon is the only one that produces a perfect eclipse that blacks the day sky. Ours, the only one. And I told y'all that the guy who told me about, who I'm watching, he said, okay, every religion has honored and recognized the supreme majesty of the number 108. 108. And if you take the diameter of the sun, right, and multiply it by whatever it was, I think it was like 85,000 or some shit, it gives you 93 million miles, which is exactly the diameter multiplied by 108 of the sun is exactly the same, is exactly the distance times 8. The 85,000 miles or whatever diameter of the sun multiplied by 108 is the exact distance from the sun to the earth, The exact distance. You can actually place 108 Earths across the moon and it would fit perfectly. You can actually place 108 suns from the sun to the Earth.
Wow.
And it will fit perfectly. The moon is the same way. Multiply the diameter of the moon, which is 2,160. What is that? The number of years in a single age.
Yes.
Multiply that by 108, which is what? 9 by 108. 9. And the distance between the Earth and the sun and the moon would fit exactly 108 moons. Oya is the mother of 9. Oya. What do they say? Oya is the beginning and the end, the Alpha and the Omega. She is the space that rests between all things, between every breath. There she is. But that moment when the fucking egg meets the sperm and you see the spark of life, that's her. Every space, right? And so she in here kicking my ass while I'm tripping on acid for 12 hours. And she said, now, baby, I had you read these scriptures for a reason. She said, because when I'm telling you that you need to rescue these witches out of these churches, you need to speak the language that they understand in real time. Get your nose in this motherfucking book. Yes. Reveal me to them from this book. This my shit. Even with the corruptions in it, even with the turning inside out of it, this my shit. She said, so I'm gonna tell you, you gonna come across motherfuckers who gonna want to fight you, probably gonna want to kill you, because I am sending you out with the word. This is 6 years ago, days before I became a grandmother. She said to me, I am the Antichrist. I am the end of this shit. And this is what they fear. This is this. This is this. If this is the Trinity, God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit, utmost yang, utmost whiteness, utmost masculinity here, then the only thing that can rescue us from it is this, the Antichrist. Listen, if this cross up here represents Christ, Christ is the personification of utmost yang as the embodiment of what? God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. Christ at the cross. Yeah. This is 6,000 years old. This is before Christ was ever even thought of or born. This existed.
Right. Right.
If Christ represents the cross and the cross represents utmost yang. Yes. Then why would I have a knee-jerk response? Which I did. I was like, you're the Antichrist. What that mean? You feel me? Knee-jerk response to conditioning.
What that mean?
Take a deep breath. She said, the salvation of the world is with my coming, bitch. I'm the Antichrist.
Boom.
They can't have
there it is.
It ain't some man. It ain't some horror story. It ain't some fucking horror movie about the Omen or some wicked ass child. It is about the reemergence of the great black primordial dragon that is she. That's why we were supposed to be outside worshiping the motherfucking eclipse yesterday.
That's a word.
That's why they demonized the eclipse for all these thousands of years, because they recognized this was the epitome of the mother finally subduing her son. And even though that mother is 400 times smaller than her son, she still run this shit.
Yep. There it is.
And in the middle of the day, she can still black the whole sky with her presence, baby.
Baby. Yeah. That's a word, sis. That's a word, sis. Before you go, can you share with us a couple of, I want to show you this book. I got a couple of books for you. One I left at home. Do you have the Original Sin by D.C.A. Hillman?
No, but text it to me so I can read it.
Ritual child rape by the Catholic Church. He goes hard documenting that is not an accident.
Text me the name so I don't forget it. But yes,
I will. Yeah. That is, and this is the harlot by the side of the road, forbidden tales of the Bible. Okay, this was a man that did this.
Okay.
And this is all, it tells you stories of rape, incest, all kind of degradation, baby. Listen, sex, violence, scandal. Okay. The stories about the what has been done on this planet systematically, and I'm so excited for my white women to wake up, the white witches, the white fundamentalist women who are just sleep, baby. When they crack through this egg, because see, when you look at the terra firma, or the way the earth looks, it's black, then it's red, then it's yellow, then it's white. That's how the breakdown of the earth looks like. And if the bottom shall be last and the top gonna be on the bottom, baby, when our white sisters wake up, and they're not our sisters, they're our daughters. That's the thing Mama Zogbe always wanted to make sure we understood.
They are
our daughters.
They all are. They all are.
To them, we are goddesses. To us, they are our mothers. And that
baby,
is
let me tell you. Because white women, I'm sorry, but white women have
reincarnated as those mothers, the Sibyls. We're back. We're here.
I am telling you, and I am telling you right now, because I go through this all the time. They're just our children. White women will represent, if they do not fall the fucking line, one of the greatest threats to the emergence of the mother.
Yes.
So when I talk about, women in general and black women in particular, I mean exactly that. White women aren't the only ones that are our daughters.
No.
Every indigenous woman on earth is our daughters.
That's right.
You understand?
That's right.
And so this question of white women is important.
Yes.
Because white males have mamas. You understand? Marcus Garvey actually talked about this, by the way. Marcus Garvey, 100+ years ago, talked about being mindful of who you share space with and energy with, because everyone will side with and be loyal to their mothers. You understand?
Yes.
So he talked about it specifically to miscegenation. He talked about the difference between offspring of black men and white women, and the difference in their behavior between offspring that are born from black women and white men. Garvey talked about this in the Philosophies and Opinions of Marcus Garvey. He said it is unfortunate and something to be analyzed that when we deal with brothers, our mixed race brothers and sisters who have black mamas, they are more loyal to the cause. They are more loyal to us. But when we have brothers and sisters who are mixed race, who have black fathers, they always side their allegiance with their mother.
Yes.
White women represent a really insidious, diabolical. I always acknowledge and recognize that insidious, diabolical nature comes directly from 900 years of fucking brigandage, tyranny, exploitation, oppression, torture, and all kinds of gruesome things.
Yes.
But as soon as they had a little wiggle room, they did the same thing the whole white world did. White people was oppressed. White people was fucked up. Fucked the fuck up. Enslaved, brutalized, terrorized, watching their women get brutalized and shit. Kids taken away and shit. But when white people came out here to the rest of the world where they were being received with open arms and shit, their default wasn't to let's side with these motherfuckers over here to destroy these motherfuckers who've been giving us hell all these years. That wasn't their default. Their default was to behave like their oppressor when coming into contact with the rest of us. White women do the same thing.
Yes.
As soon as they get a little wiggle room that allows them a little bit more liberty and them a little bit more freedom, they don't abandon the ills of the men in their life and the crimes of the men in their life. They jump both feet first into entitlement, which entitles them to oppression. White women have work to do. And the thing is they always entering into spaces with us under the guise of being progressive, looking for us to coddle them, to absolve them from their participation in crimes against us. That ain't the way. That ain't the way. Come into this space with a hard skin and an open heart and submit to the will of the mother. And that is the only way that we can move forward. That's the only way that we can move forward. Listen. And I never will deny an individual their sovereignty. If you say you want to enter into this space with us, if you say that this is the world you truly want to see made real in the real world, we set the fucking terms. You can comply or not. That's your choice. You still got free will. I still will not deny you sovereignty, but you can't be up in here. You can't set no terms. You cannot establish how you want to participate. And that's no motherfucking body. That's not just white women. That's no motherfucking body.
No.
That's not men. If you really about that life, you really want to change the world, you really want to transform the relationships between human beings, male and female, and all the genders in between, when you come up in here, silence is the only way you can exist in this space for right now. Y'all done done all the talking in the world. Y'all done all the mouthpiecing in the world. We didn't have 100 and something. We didn't have 400 years of quote militant, rebellious organizations led by men, and we ain't no motherfucking better off because y'all make us sit quiet. Let us do the man's work. Let us do the man's work. Then you fucking try to shame and make light of those women who be like, nigga, fuck y'all. If y'all ain't gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. Harriet Tubman said, Harriet Tubman surrounded by men. Harriet Tubman in her motherfucking 50s and can't read and write. She was like, you sorry motherfuckers, if y'all ain't gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. Queen Nanny, if y'all saw surrounded by men. If y'all,
that's how it is now. It's still like that to this day. It's the mother and the son. The men are not the natural leaders on this planet. The men are not the natural leaders.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And so I hate seeing women, brilliant, smart, charming, good-looking women debating these boorish weirdos about a woman's place and about submitting.
Yes.
Stop entertaining those spaces.
Yes.
They can't debate with a bitch that ain't willing. I don't debate with men at all. I do not engage them that way at all. And I used to. Being a hardcore militant black nationalist and black nationalist organizations, you always having to fight for space. I spent 10 years of my life debating black men. For what? Bitch,
For
y'all
what?
ain't me.
No.
Y'all ain't me, can't never be me.
No. They'll never know anything about you, yet women listen to men. I'm not talking
about me as an individual, boo. I'm talking about me as God. I'm talking about me as God. Bitch, you can't never be me. That's what I'm talking about. I'm sitting up here spinning my tail and wasting my breath fucking debating with babies. These motherfuckers is babies. These is our children. Yes. The fuck? You understand? No, I don't debate with men. And I get tired of seeing women getting exhausted, looking humiliated and shit, having these weirdos talk this bullshit out in the world. Black men are the most venomous out their mouth of any group of men on earth towards the women that are their counterparts. Openly venomous to their women, to their daughters, to their sisters, to their mothers. You understand? Yes. Honey. I make it plain when somebody even asks me for my phone number or contact information about the temple. I want you to understand what you think you're walking into, because this ain't no hippie shit.
Come on.
This ain't no peace and love and everybody just none of that. None of that. If you are male, hell, if you are across the genders,
yes.
If you are white, black, red, brown, or yellow, baby, here, what I'm doing, what we doing, it's what the fuck we say. It's what the fuck we say for a change, because we have capitulated to every motherfucking body, and everyone of every race and every gender has rode the back of black women's oppression to get ahead for themselves. Everyone.
And they're still doing it.
I believe that people who identify as transgender or non-binary have a right to live on the terms that they set. I will never deny them the right to live on the terms that they set, not at my motherfucking expense. That's sisters getting in goddamn debates with transgender women about what a real woman is.
So dumb.
Blasphemy it is.
Blasphemy. So dumb.
Blasphemy it is.
Yes.
Baby, set the terms for your life, bitch. I want to see you happy. I want to see you thriving. I want to see you sovereign. And I am not your issue. I am not the one who denied you sovereignty as a black woman. Ooh. Now, if you give a fuck about black women as a trans woman, then fall the fucking line like everybody else will need to. It is our time. It is our time for us to set the terms for how we liberate this shit, for how we set the world free, for how people can experience genuine love and happiness. That shit has never existed. Not in this period, not under patriarchy. It's impossible for genuine love and happiness to exist under patriarchy. We don't even know what that shit looks like and feels like. We don't. And we won't know it until we are free, until we are sovereign, until we have set the terms that allows for people to live harmoniously among and with one another on the terms that they set, as long as those terms do not impose on and encroach on the terms that others have set for themselves. Even children deserve sovereignty.
Yes. Oh,
teenagers deserve sovereignty.
Yes.
Elders deserve sovereignty.
Yes.
God damn it.
Yes.
So I don't get caught up in these motherfucking this fucking bullshit in Israel and Palestine.
Yep.
It is tragic. But it is a distraction, because at the end of the day, if everybody stopped in place in Israel and Palestine and there was no more war and no more conflict, women and children in either place would not be any fucking better off. Nope. I can guarantee you that.
Absolutely.
Women and children would not be better off. They would still be oppressed. They would still be muted. They would still be subdued. They would still be raped. They would still be exploited. God damn it.
Come on. Yes. Woo, that's a word. God damn it. Woo. So I want to show these two books right here, the foundational work.
Make it plain. Do not let nobody distract you on no bullshit, sisters.
Yes.
Do not let nobody get you caught up in no bullshit, sisters. If it's not about the mother, if it is not us as representatives of the mother setting terms for how to change the world, if it is not us in relationships with other women of color around the world to change the world, if it is not the willful submission of ego to the feet of the mother by white people, by white women, by men, be uninterested and do not engage that shit. Do not engage it, because that's
be uninterested and do not engage.
That's it. You understand?
Woo. I want to say very quickly that the basis of logical thinking on this planet is under Hermetic law, and a lot of these creators of the Matrix believe in Hermes.
I'm sorry. Let me pause for one. I want to challenge you to something.
Go ahead.
Stop using the word the Matrix.
Okay.
Stop using the word matrix as the way that we've come to.
Yeah, because that means mother.
It doesn't just mean mother.
Okay. What is
mathematically, scientifically, and spiritually, philosophically, matrix means the origin, the beginning, the foundation.
Okay. Then I shall not.
Use some other word to describe this wicked ass construct.
The wicked ass construct is good.
Matrix means mother.
Well, one of the tenets of the construct that we find ourselves in under Hermetic law
it's not a small thing, sis, but I just wanted to. Yeah.
I'm with it. I'm all about etymology. I change my words. I don't call things weak. I call them strong. I tell people go have a strong front instead of a weak end. Once I. So
I love it. I'm taking that. I'm taking that.
Yeah, go have a strong front.
I love it.
So the Emerald Tablets is one of the tristes that this world is founded upon, and it's one of its axioms is as above, so below. And I love it because while the world talks about as above, so below, they really don't really get it, what it means. It's like, no, what's happening cosmically, because we're cosmic beings, is happening in our bodies, through our animated being selves. We are alive. We are here. We are existing. So this sibyl energy here, as we reemerge back onto the planet, as we have come through, I love to say, Mother just recently said, you waited so many lifetimes to be born right now. You waited so many lifetimes to be reborn right now, so that we can make a difference. So we have the memory. We are everybody's talking about bringing in timelines. Yeah, because we're here now. We are awakened and we remember, which means we put ourselves back together, and we no longer fall under the same shit that we did in the past, 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. The idea that the Black woman, the mother, has to link up. She is at war with her son and her husband and her father. That's the person who raped and attacked and killed her. And that's the shit we don't want to say out loud. That is a war that has been going on biologically, and it is manifesting on this planet. And we are fighting back. So as above, so below. There's no need for us, as you say, to fight and argue and complain and debate these fellas. For what? That's just, like you said, a distraction to keep us off our purpose. Now that we have returned as the Sibyls, we are not falling for that shit no more. No more. So the male construct, you are on notice, okay, that the great mother and all her daughters are awake, and we are alive and well, and we are here kicking ass, and we ain't even taking your fucking names because we don't give a fuck about you. That's what I want.
Let me say one more thing, and then I'm gonna shut up. I promise I'm gonna shut up because I got shit to do. I really do.
Yeah, I want to hear your. I want to hear
this
your
conversation, this conversation particularly about Black men, about this period that is a return to the original this original attack on the mother by Black males, and we're seeing it replayed out in real time. I want to be clear. I do not hate anyone. I do not hate Black men. I don't. I don't hate white people, as it were. I don't. I have enough rage that I would run through them like the plague if need be, but I don't hate them. You understand?
Yes.
And again, it is because I am clear about what it is that is going to take to change the world, right?
Yes.
But I also want to say specifically about Black men. I have been in relationships with political relationships, friendships, romantic relationships with men that I really respect. Mm-hmm. My father, my uncles, my grandfather, these men, I would say, were, at least from today's standards, extraordinary men, good men, still afflicted with the fucking cancer of patriarchy. Okay. Absolutely. Absolutely. You understand? And so when I say that the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence, the institution that I have built, right, that everyone is welcome and everybody on earth is an honorary member. The reason I say that is because the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence not only is the institution that I have built, the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence is the uterus.
Woo! That's it. As above, so below.
The Temple of Evolutionary Emergence is the uterus. Yes. It is only through this thing that she, in her divine wisdom, wanting to experience herself in a different way, created herself in the flesh, baby. The conduit with which that had to happen is the uterus that she created out of her imagination, so that she could transform herself from great, radical, boundless infinity into a material force that she could watch herself at play in. That's all. The uterus. And everybody, trans, gender non-conforming, non-binary, male, female, Black, white, red, yellow, brown, you understand? Everyone was transformed from their spiritual self to their physical self through one. All 8 billion plus one of us. So we all members of the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. Feel me?
Yes.
And now whether you want to be a willing, contributing member of the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence as an institution, or whether you just a victim of fate, the daughter of the fates, you see. And this call, this charge that the mother has me on. Listen, why do I call myself the daughter of the fates? Did you hear this story? I call myself the daughter of the fates. I
don't think so.
I call myself the daughter of the fates. Who are the fates in Greek mythology? The fates were the weavers of destiny, always pictured as 3 sisters. The sisters who control the tapestry of the entire universe. You understand? They determine when you're born, when you die, how you live, what happens in your life. These weavers of the universe, right? The fates. And different cultures have different versions of this story. But it never even resonated until I became a spiritual woman. Yes. My middle name is Faye. And the reason that my middle name is Faye is because I was not male. My oldest uncle, his name is Fate. My grandfather's name is Fate. My great-grandfather's name is Fate. And my great-great-grandfather's name is Fate. And my dad, being the baby, said that if he had a son, he was going to name his son Fate to continue the tradition. But he only had girls. And I was the oldest girl. So he gave me the middle name Faye as a nod to, or a wink to, this tradition of the fates of the males in my family. You understand?
The daughter of the fates.
Here I am, the daughter of the fates, right? Daughter to witches, both on my mother and my father's side of the family, whether they recognized they were witches or not. You understand? Because the worldview they saw their powers through a crack of Christ. You understand? That's when I adopted the name, the daughter of the fates. I retook my name, the name that my mother gave me when she bled on my head, when she bled on my crown. You feel me? I took the name Cassandra back. Hated the name because it was Greek and I'm not Greek. And then I take the name back. This came to me in ceremony. I took the name back and Spirit was like, bitch, your mama is who she is. Your daddy is who he is because his mama is who she is. And this is why your name is what it is. You are Cassandra, the oracle. This is what my name means. She who shines light on mankind. She who illuminates the world. This is what my name means. She who sees the future.
Yes. Come on, Cassandra.
So all these years I've been running away from my destiny that was given to me.
Given to you. Handed down.
Through the primordial waters of my mother's womb. In the blood, she consecrated her contract with me while I cracked her ass in half and she bled on my goddamn dome. You feel me?
Yes.
We all are members of the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. We all are blessed through baptism in our mother's primordial water. All of us, no matter how fucked up our relationship was, no matter how traumatized she was or how diabolical she was, you exist because her waters made it so. Her blood made it so. You see.
Yes.
This is the work. I do not engage in anybody trying to demote the significance of who women are. Who women are. And the last thing I'm going to say is in this book, the Women's Encyclopedia of Myths and Secrets. You feel me?
I was just telling my people, please get that. If y'all don't have it, ladies and gentlemen, please get a copy of that work.
She talks about in the section of this book called Doomsday, I believe. Yeah, she talks about Doomsday. Okay. And Doomsday is where we at right now. You feel me? Because according to this book, according to Hindu tradition, we are living in the Kali Yuga.
Right.
The yugas in Hindu tradition were the ages, the different ages. Like in Greek times, you had the Golden Age and the Bronze Age and the this and the that. The yugas were the ages of Hindu belief. Kali.
That's my girl.
They call her the Black One. You feel me?
And them ain't heads that was originally around her neck. Them was
this. So in this period where it said, so let me tell you, the universal idea of the world's end is rooted in an ancient Hindu belief in the cyclic alteration of the universe is brought about by Kali. She initiates the change in ages, like the one we in right now, initiated by Oya, her counterpart, her Yoruba counterpart. You feel me? Each successive creation was divided into the 4 yugas or ages: Satya, Treta, Dvapara, and Kali. The 4th and last marking the age when the mother turns destroyer because the race of men become violent and sinful, failing to perceive deity in the feminine principle. Due to the limited intelligence and lust of men in the Kali Yuga, they will be unable to recognize women as the manifestation of Shakti. Only a few men may escape spiritual degeneration. those who are devoted to the lotuses of their mother's feet, and who worship their wives as gods. Huh?
Woo! What page is that, sis?
Child, that's on page 248.
Okay. Yeah, I hope y'all got that.
You feel me?
I really hope y'all got that.
You feel me? She say, look,
Ooh.
if you want to ensure your continued existence as a Y chromosome bearing entity, then worship at the lotus of your mother's feet and worship your wife as God. That's it. That's the only thing that's going to save you from this shit. Because she say, I come through here to wreck all this shit. This decadent. She also goes on to say that because Kali, as the great primordial black abyss that gave birth to all things, including the gods, that when the gods facilitate this decadence on earth, that they too, she will cause them to slay each other, the gods.
Yes, they're doing it
so
now.
When we talk in the Great Cosmic Mother about the emergence or the birth of the Godhead, this ancient idea that when, like Christianity says it, where two or more together, there I shall be. In ancient tradition, the creation of the Godhead was ceremony around the fire. People get together, even if they aren't talking, they're dancing, they're singing around the fire. And then there's a moment when they reach a state of ecstasy or trance, where they feel something in the collection of them that emerges from them that becomes bigger than they are. They generate it. They create it. But now it becomes an entity that now feeds them and they feed it. This is the creation of the Godhead. And while it sounds beautiful, there are really unruly, fucked up Godheads that we have created out of a belief imposed on us. Christ as an entity never walked the face of the planet. Never lived in the flesh. It is an idea imposed on us based on astrology and political strategy.
Yes.
But even though Christ as an entity never walked the face of the planet, it does not make his impact in this world any less real. This is what a Godhead is.
Yes.
America, born out of baptized baby in blood, created as a ritual, baptized in blood, has existed in the real world completely contrary to the philosophies imposed on our consciousness to accept the validity of its existence. You hear what I'm telling you? America is a Godhead. America is a Godhead.
Yes. Yes.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Land of the free, home of the brave. My country, 'tis a thing. All this bullshit.
Yes.
That we, not only was it born in blood, baptized in fucking blood, baby, baptized in water and blood, if you want to be real about it. Tell me it's not a birth ritual. All these motherfuckers coming across the goddamn ocean didn't know what was on the other side, but was ready to do whatever the fuck it took to secure themselves some freedom from the shit they escaped from. You feel me? And then massacred everybody in sight to ensure it. When I say that America was born in water and blood, I mean that shit. And it has taken blood to sustain it. But we believe the hype. So we create ceremonies of our babies, black, brown, red, and yellow, young men and women, to go give their lives for an idea that is completely contradicting what they feel in their spirit about murdering people they don't know, about I'm just doing it because it's my job and shit. The first motherfucker to lose their life in the establishment of America was a black man. Crispus Attucks was the first soldier to lose his life in the American Revolutionary War. And then they hailed him as this hero and so wonderful. And as soon as that motherfucker died, they sold his kids into slavery. Freeborn black children, they sold into slavery. And we still keep fighting in these wars all these years later. You understand?
Yes.
Still keep dressing our babies in uniforms and having them conduct ritual, pledging and saluting. This is ritual.
Yeah.
What is Mount Rushmore if it's not the biggest fucking ancestral altar consecrated in the blood of 32 natives by Abraham Lincoln to establish the dominance of white men over this land? Mount Rushmore, because that mountain was called the mountain of the sky, or the mountain of the gods by the Lakota. It was sacred land. And they took the mountain of the gods and chiseled these 4 white boys facing the shit. And then lynched the rebel Lakota people who opposed it at the foot of the fucking mountain. That is ritual. That's ritual that we conducting on behalf of this fucking war god that we have given goddamn life to. America is a war god.
A war god
that we've given birth to. We've given blood to. We've given sweat and tears to. Why you think they put these crackers' faces on all these fucking pieces of paper and coins and shit?
You
feel me? This is ritual. We kill each other for these pieces of paper with these white boys' names on. That's blood magic.
Yes.
We get up when
we tell you
want to.
They'll tell you that they got a number. Give me a number. I'll kill you for the number. People tell you this. That's what rappers do. That's what famous rappers do. They don't care. I'm gonna get this check.
It's not about they don't care. It is about the conditioning and the nature of what it means to create a godhead.
True.
And if we do not know what it is we are looking at, we will forever be behind the curve trying to solve the mysteries. That's why everybody caught up in goddamn conspiracy theories and shit.
Yes.
Hey, don't spend your wheels studying conspiracy theories, the Illuminati, and all of this shit. That shit is distractionary too. Yes. Women have to set the terms for the way forward.
Yes.
These conspiracy theories do exactly what they're supposed to do, is occupy hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of your life while offering you no solution to the remedy to this shit.
Yes. Come on, mother.
So, how do we undo the Godhead? Kali said it's simple, bitch. Worship black women. Save yourself. Worship black women. And I ain't talking about no bougie. I ain't talking about no weird ass shit neither. I'm talking about you defend black women no matter who they are. Nah, you protect black woman only if she fuckable. Only if she ain't a lesbian. Only if she give you her digits and shit. Nah, baby. Nah. Hold up black women no matter where they are. If they homeless on the street, you hold them up for the God that they are. You transform the lives of some black woman and expect nothing in return.
That's right.
That's what it means.
Yes.
This book here say if you want to be spared destruction, that is inevitable, bitch. I'm up in here. I'm up in here. Yep. If you want to avoid destruction, that is inevitable for the crimes that you have participated in against women, against children, against the planet. Bitch, fall on your fucking face and worship at the lotus of your mother's feet. That's what you do. Anything less than that is unacceptable.
And we mean that.
That's what it is. So now we black women and women around the world, women of color, even white women, if they fall the fucking line, need to be creating a new Godhead.
Yes.
We cannot be in our apartments by our motherfucking self conducting ritual, expecting that we gonna set this shit off, because we ain't. Where two or more are gathered, there shall I be. We need to. I laugh about it and joke about it all the time, but I'm deadly fucking serious. If we want to stage a contest with the goddamn opposition, we need to be taking notes about what the opposition is doing. All these motherfucking preachers talking about it's the end of days and shit, and how Israel and Palestine is the fulfillment of prophecy. Bullshit. Challenge that shit first of all.
Right.
Because to believe that, to side with Israel and genocide, is to believe that these motherfuckers is some kind of chosen people. There ain't no chosen people.
That's right.
Y'all all our children. Y'all all our children. We say, all y'all been chosen because y'all exist. All y'all been chosen. So that bullshit, get that shit out your motherfucking head. One, that shit is a lie from hell. One.
Yes.
Two, the fulfillment of prophecy. Whose prophecy? Reread the goddamn Revelations and recognize that the reason they are fearful, that the reason that they are scared, that the reason that they have imprisoned you is because they knew that when the Antichrist came, she was not going to be no white boy talking about peace and signing peace treaties. She was going to be a big, black, fire-breathing dragon raining brimstone on every institution that they've erected in the Father's name. That's who it is. That's who it is.
Yes.
And we better be on board with that, because any future that we create can be better than this shit. What we holding on to this shit for?
Ooh.
Anything that we create will be better than what it is right now under the Father.
Yeah. Anything.
If we got to destroy every motherfucking thing and rebuild the whole it still will be 1,000,000 times better than anything constructed under patriarchy. We just have to trust that. We have to believe that.
Ooh.
You understand?
Yes.
And so, follow me. I'm gonna tell y'all how to follow me and shit. You understand?
Yes.
Follow me on my IG, my Twitter, my Facebook, my YouTube. You feel me? On my YouTube is at DaughterOfTheFates. In the search engine, you have to put the @ sign because a whole bunch of other bullshit come up because that's police shit. Daughter of the Fates. That's my YouTube channel. On my YouTube channel right now, we are reading the book Purelust by Marydaly, Elemental Philosophy of Feminism. Baby, let me tell you about this book.
Yes.
The etymology of the word sin, S-I-N, in the old Latin is she is. Sin etymologically means she is. In Indo-European etymology, it means to be. To sin is to be. She is to be. This is a sin. And so what Marydaly says in this book, if this is the case, then our being, she, is a sin. And if our existence in this fucking construct is a sin anyway, we might as well have the goddamn courage to sin on purpose. Whoop. She said, we're going to have to wreck all this shit. We're going to have to wreck all this shit. If it's a sin for us to be born female, we might as well have the courage to sin.
Yes.
Have the courage to be. That's what she's saying. Baby. You understand? And so that's what we're reading right now.
I want to put can you tell the people your Cash App in case they want to bless you for taking care of us?
Cool. So Purelust is what we're reading on YouTube right now until we finish with it. We're about halfway through. So maybe another 2 weeks. I read every day at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, that book. Okay. Then I have a Facebook page because I'm still in the process of building the website. But right now, the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence is you can invite me on Facebook and just Google or search the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence. We have a fan page there, or like a group, a Facebook group there. And I am either Cassandra-Floyd or Daughter of the Fates on all my social media. I have an IG that is Daughter of the Fates with underscores under each word. And then I have my business IG, which is release.heart.center. I encourage you to follow me on both, but I can't follow you back on my Daughter of the Fates. I have too many people on it. But reach out to me on release.heart.center IG, and I can follow you there. I'm just typing some things out in the chat. If you guys want to make a contribution, Release Heart Center. I'm trying to type and talk at the same time. And then I am making a commitment to have the website up hopefully by our anniversary. That's a little ambitious. This is our first year as the temple. And our anniversary is 11/11. Wow. But hopefully before the new year. That's my commitment. Not hopefully. Before the new year, the website will be up, but hopefully by our anniversary. And we do temple services every Sunday at 11 p.m. I didn't today because I've been doing lives twice a day, every day for the last week, trying to get y'all ready for this eclipse. And what else? Let's see. So I'm typing out how you can make a contribution to the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence if you so feel moved or called. It says my comment failed.
Oh, I don't know why.
That sucks.
That does suck.
Okay, so let me try it this way. Nope, it's not letting me comment at all now. It was early, but it's not letting me comment at all now. So just reach out to me, release.heart.center@gmail.com. release.heart.center@gmail.com. I do readings. I do complete wellness consultation. You can find out, just put readings or consultation in the header so I can know what it's about. And then I can give you details about how I facilitate that. Twitter is Cassandra-Floyd. Facebook, Cassandra-Floyd. IG, DaughterOfTheFates. IG, release.heart.center. And then YouTube is at DaughterOfTheFates. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you all for the feedback. It was cool. Now I'm about to go get cussed out because I'm 2 hours late for my commitment. You feel me?
Well, we love you, and we
important.
are thankful. We love you, and we are so thankful for you. Please check her out. I'm gonna release you, goddess. This goddess, the work you're doing. She has other books that she's reading and has read. Bell Hooks about love is on there.
Oh, that book is jamming. Yeah.
Oh, that is so good. Oh,
you know, that was my first Bell Hooks book, Communion: The Female Search for Love. Woo.
When you said that, I was like, okay, I get that. I get that.
Yeah.
Your work is fantastic, and I'm so grateful to all of your mothers for bringing you through at this needed time on the planet. We are so grateful for all your mothers.
Thank you so much.
And for you heeding the call and coming through, because you are giving the rest of us courage. Like you said, coming out of the dark, our healing is somebody else's evolution. So thank you.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
Your work is
Speak up, sisters. Breathe fire, baby. Yes.
Breathe fire. Burn this shit to the ground.
Yes. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. This is really cool. Thank you for the opportunity. Please make sure to go to my YouTube channel, like, share, subscribe. Y'all know the rigmarole. You feel me?
Yes. Yes.
Y'all know the rigmarole. You understand? Let's set this shit off.
It is beautiful. And you know, we're going to be there when you go live tonight to read, or it's Sunday, so you won't be reading.
Sunday, not tonight. Yeah.
Tomorrow. Okay.
Tomorrow at 5 p.m.
Have a good one.
Time.
We thank you, Goddess, so very much for your wonderful wisdom and your teaching and sharing this great food with us. Truly, this spiritual food. We need this nourishment. Thank you, Mother.
It was my pleasure. It was fun.
Yes. Be well, and thank you all for joining us on this wonderful conversation. More will continue here. Thank you. I'm Dee Ramsey, aka the Lotus Flower. Thank you for joining us, and you all have a wonderful evening. Be blessed. Be well.
Y'all enjoy yourselves. Enjoy your day. You know, walk barefoot for a little while on the earth. Thank your mother. You understand? Light a candle today if you can. Smoke a cigar for all y'all. Light a purple candle. You feel me? Like, thank the mother, because, thank the mothers today. It's a powerful month. The rest of the month is really big energy, really big power up opportunity. So, you know, let's set it off. Let's do these rituals. Let's direct our intention, you know, purposefully. Avoid distractions, avoid frivolous arguments and shit. Like, this is power up time. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So thank you so much. Peace and power.
Yes.
You understand?
Be well. I'm ending the stream now. All righty.
All right. Peace.
Peace.